Mother, man.
Hi, this is John Liss, doing some accounting. For the love of Christ, this is Murder Metal Mayhem.
Spreading faster than a case of the clap in a trailer court. Able to shatter eardrums within a 666-mile radius. A podcast more brutal than all the rest. It's Murder Metal Mayhem!
Well, what the fuck is up, Chris?
What's up? Shit, dude. Fuck
Doing
yeah.
that Tuesday thing. Good to be back here after a week off.
Had that 100th episode.
We
Fuck
did.
Yeah, man.
We did. Broke some records with that, which we're going to talk about tonight. Good thing.
Fucking A, dude.
Because we've got a little something different for you guys tonight. We got Joey Goremonger, who's...
I mean, there's nothing
There's
different
nothing
about
different about that.
Nothing different about that.
The night he's
week
not here,
11
everybody's
or
gonna be
12 or
like-
whatever it is.
Yeah, the night he's not here, everybody's going to be like, wait, what's different? Why the fuck? Wait, why?
But I'll tell you what is different is now I'm not here on welfare. Now I'm working again.
Oh, there you go. That's true. That's true. And we got CK. Hear him
yeah.
snickering there in the
Fuck yeah,
background.
what's up, CK?
CK's in the house,
All
bitch.
episode long.
Oh shit! Here he goes. He's got his new Yeti.
I got my new
yeah.
Yeti. I'm
Your new
ready to tear
microphone.
this shit up.
Yeah, dude,
Hell
that's
yeah, dude.
awesome. And you got the blood red one, which is very brutal. So very
killer.
metal. Awesome. So we're gonna have you on for the entire episode, which we'll explain as we go. But excellent to have both you guys here, and I'm sure CK now with your Yeti, you're gonna sound even better when you record yourself, and it'll be awesome to hear it back in the episode.
Yes,
so,
it will.
so,
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit more. I mean, it was clearer before, but I think it's going to be. It's going to
Yeah.
add something to it.
It is, dude.
For sure.
It is. So good to have you guys on. And if you guys missed it, our 100th episode was live last week, and it was definitely a good one. We broke our record, which was actually set, Chris, with the Eileen Warnos episode, which wasn't that long ago.
No, it really wasn't.
711 listens, and then and that was in the first 24 hours, and that broke the record before, which was, I can't remember, 6 something. And then this week we did it 798 in the
Fuck yeah,
first
dude.
24 hours.
Hell
So
yeah.
blew that shit apart. Almost hit 800.
Yeah, we're already past fucking right now. Like,
We're almost at 1,200 right now.
Shit, yeah.
So that was really cool to see. So very, very awesome. We had the guys from the Black Crypt podcast in here with us talking some demonic possession. Joey, that was fun.
That was a good episode. Like,
Yeah.
Upon listening to it again.
It's cool to hear
It
it
was good,
finished,
yeah.
especially when you did it a while ago, because it's
Right.
not as fresh on the mind. So
Right.
it's like, oh, wow, yeah, we talked about that.
Right.
Was cool, you know. And
Yeah.
I always am interested to hear, and I know we're going to talk, I'm kind of getting the cart before the horse, Chris, on the episode we got coming up next week, which is how we do this. But to me, it's very interesting to see, especially an episode like that with all those interviews, and to try to make it flow like a typical
Right.
episode
Yeah.
is tough, I think, to not overdo the interviews and make too much of it interview, but enough of it to give people a reason to
an
want to
idea.
listen to
right,
it. you know?
exactly, yeah.
I just feel embarrassed. Like, Tucker? That dude sounds like a fucking
does.
radio personality.
He's got a
Like,
great voice.
Yeah, like if you were to look up radio personality voice on
Yeah,
YouTube,
that's it.
that would pop up.
That's
as him.
it. Totally.
So you're sitting there listening to him like,
I know.
dude, what the
I know. Yeah, and he was on your mic too, so
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
like he brought with him this
No,
like
no, that was-
$3,000
that was him.
microphone. No,
yeah,
he
that's
sounds
fucking
like
pretty
that.
badass.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, those guys are great.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. And CK, of course, we had you on for most of that one, and it was
Yep.
awesome. The Christopher St. Booth interview actually got quite a few comments, people
Nice.
commenting about how much they liked that and how much it was kind of freaky, like some of the shit we
Some
were
of the shit
talking
he was
about.
talking about with him, yeah.
And, you know, we've been talking about the 666 Club, and I'm thinking, boy, it'd be nice to have that now because they're going to be able to hear the full
Yeah.
Christopher St. Booth episode next week. I'm going to have that on Patreon only.
The entire thing.
The whole thing, which was, Chris, what was that, like almost 50 minutes? I think we
were
talked
on
to him.
Yeah, at
That was
least
really
50
cool.
That was
And we-
really close to an hour. I
It
mean,
was, and we talked about a lot of stuff with him, and only a little piece of that was used in the episode. So there's a big reason. And then the Tony Campagna interview was fun. I'm thinking about putting that one up next week for free on our regular, like with a bonus episode, because next week's a bonus. I figured give them the interview of Tony, which was only like 18 minutes long, but it was really funny because Tony's hilarious, and we talked about a lot of other stuff, just the episode related we used, but the rest not. So there's a lot there. There's a lot to chew on in that 100th episode, and obviously 1,200 people agree, and the numbers are going to climb. I'm sure it's going to break into that top 10 here probably within a month. It'll probably be in the top 10.
Hell yeah, dude.
Because we see a lot of episode listens. Like this last week, we were at 2,700, so a little lower than we've been, but still average for where we typically are. We've just been blowing it up to where even when we come back to normal, it seems low because we've seen some upper, almost 5,000 and, stuff like that. So it's just great. So thanks everybody out there. Now we got a really good one tonight, guys, a little Father's Day celebration. And Chris, I was thinking we've never done a Father's Day episode.
No, we've done Mother's Day.
Right. I've
Twice,
looked back to make sure before I said this. And I never see that we've done a Father's Day.
No, we did Mother's Day
so
for sure.
this is a good one. CK, you actually picked this feature of the piece of shit of the year fucking for a father, for God's sake. What are we going to do tonight, CK?
We are going to do the murders of John List.
Yeah, the
dude,
List
he's a
family
great guy.
murders. Yeah, he was a
what
real nice
fucked up
dad.
dude.
For sure, man. And the way they catch him is so amazing.
Insane,
that
dude.
forensics files episode of this is
That was amazing.
unreal, man.
Well, it's
I love that show.
Right on, like he was looking at him while he was making that shit, dude. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's an amazing story, and so I'm anxious to get into this one tonight. And so, and I know CK, you had some disappointing medical news, which we'll talk about later on, to give the listeners an update of how you're doing and what's going on.
Yeah, I just found out a couple things today, so
Okay. Yeah,
just update it a little bit as far as where I'm going and
sure.
what's happening.
Yeah, because everybody's concerned. So we'll be anxious to hear what's up, and obviously, CK, we're in your corner and glad that you're doing this shit with us, man. So
fuck yeah.
And
No place I'd rather be.
Well, fuck yeah.
It's the only place to be.
On a Tuesday night, for sure. Now, you're going to be doing the feature on Thin LIzzy, which is cool. That's one of your favorites, man. Old school.
They're one of my favorite bands in the whole world. I'm just a Thin LIzzy fanatic, along with, as I mentioned, there's a few bands that I love. Sabbath, Maiden, Priest, Fate's Warning, Dream Theater, and Thin LIzzy.
Yeah.
Those are the bands I am fanatic about, along with the Beatles, but obviously that's not in the roundhouse.
Right. What about Thor, man? I thought you were all about Thor.
Thor is beyond all that. That's the greatest.
Yeah, it's in a school by itself there.
Oh, God.
For God's sakes. So you're going to be schooling us on some metal tonight, so that's going to be
we're
awesome.
going total 70s, even with the Lost Classic, we're going 70s.
Awesome.
All right,
That's going to be
man.
good. We got a good killer cage match tonight. This is kind of an interesting fucking matchup here.
It is a little bit. After when I saw it, I was like,
I added some killers, so we're up to 70 now, and 70 objects. So we've got some interesting ones coming up. Thanks to listeners Regina King, Chris. We got some others here too.
we got Dave Little and Sue Cornwell. So thanks for the numbers. Appreciate that shit. And Cashman, who's fighting this fight tonight?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, has anybody ever been to Chicago?
Yeah.
One of our favorites,
Yep.
Anyway, we got John Wayne Gacy versus
Well,
Gary
hell yeah.
Heidnik.
You got Chicago and Cleveland going at it, man.
So
that's a rivalry right there,
dude,
man.
And when it comes to like fucked up shit and killers
dude.
and shit, both of
these
them
two are
are
fucking
fucked up.
gnarly,
Yeah.
man. So,
Hey, holy
this should
shit,
be a good
man.
one.
Yeah.
Fighting to
but
the
like
death.
I said, I'm it's gonna be a tough one because I'm gonna rep Illinois
Gotta
all
rep
the
the
way.
home field, bro.
When we get to the ding ding, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It should be a good one. So thanks, guys, for those random numbers because that's how we pick out who's fighting, and then of course the objects are good, and we'll reveal that in the mayhem segment. So, and then Chris got a variable tonight that's fun.
Yeah,
so,
the variable's interesting too.
yeah, so it's going to be crazy, and we'll do that in the mayhem segment tonight. So thanks to Tony Campagna, Spellbound Effects and Art.com. So fucking amazing, Chris. I'm still marvel. We get compliments about this all the time. Where the fuck did you get that lamp? Or now with Spike.
Fucking amazing shit. It's
fucking crazy.
Super realistic. So I mean, hell yeah, Tony does awesome work.
Yeah, he's got that cool catalog on his website where you can go and order stuff. Joey, he's got stuff at all price points too. Not everything's super expensive.
Like, there's things on there that I thought would be a lot more than
the thumb drives aren't that much. He's got all kinds of stuff. Now he's got the hats and the fucking vests and all that shit.
I constantly see that, the picture with the vest and the hat.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Bet
they
you
just
how
keep
heavy
flashing that because they want a motherfucker to get that,
Like, I want it.
And I keep seeing you in that cowboy hat walking into a Huck's gas station
What up?
and freaking some people the fuck out, man.
I've been thinking, I should talk to him and shit, but I've seen other people get them from other companies. But I was thinking, like, how badass it would be to get, like, a guitar strap made by him, made out of, like, skin and shit.
Dude,
right?
That would be fucking
That
sweet.
would be sick. Yeah,
Dude.
that's a good idea.
Nasty
Guitar
ass
strap.
guitar strap
Yeah, I
would be
should-
fun.
Oh, I guarantee he's probably done them.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guarantee
Like
you.
I said, I've seen him before.
You want me to ask him?
Yeah, or I
All
can
right.
ask him. Or,
All right.
Or I can ask.
Yeah,
or
Spellbound
if you're
Eff-
listening, Tony.
Yeah,
Yeah, or if you're-
Spellbound
yeah.
Effects and Art.com. So thanks to you guys out there listening. I just looked, Chris, before we did this, 217,000 total listens to the podcast since we started April of 2018. So that's pretty amazing. We just passed 200,000, so we're already 17,000 in now, and we just passed it here just recently.
We're kicking ass.
And for a DIY style production with very little marketing or advertising, I really think this is a good thing. And I'm honestly, and I wish I had more time. That's the problem. If I could, do this for a living, I think I could see doing actually have ideas for other podcasts, not that I would do, but that I would produce.
Yeah.
And one in mind with you, and one in mind with you, and CK, all three of you. I could easily, if that's what I
Was
could
able to do all the time.
and I could do different shows, and we could have a metal show. We could do fucking Shawback Drunk. We could do fucking. I thought a fucking grind related fucking podcast would be sick as fuck. I mean, we could do it on the Horns High network. So that's kind of what I'd love to see as this thing keeps growing. So we appreciate you guys. Right now that's not possible for me to spend that kind of time doing this, but if I could and did this full time, I could totally see doing more stuff in here. We'd have to do something with the decor because I would never want to use the same setup, but maybe a second studio, I thought, even on that side, and do it different.
You look
in
at
there.
how far you came in a year. Just
Right.
say that,
Fucking A, right?
Yeah, so I've got big ideas for this, more than what we're doing right now. I can tell you that. So thanks to our Canadian listeners, man, crushing it. 2 cities in the top 10, Joey. Fucking Winnipeg, Manitoba. Brampton, Ohio.
Ontario?
Yeah, I don't know where Brampton, Ontario is.
Never heard
but
of it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So
Heard
hell
of
yeah.
Winnipeg, but not.
Yeah, keep
But-
on
so
spreading
keep
that
on
word.
listening up, guys. Hell
like
yeah.
a case of the clap at a trailer park, man. We appreciate it very, very much. We got a lot to get to tonight, though.
Yeah.
The List family is gathering around the table this Father's Day to waiting for Dad, to come home with something nice. But I don't
Sounds
know.
like Dad's waiting for the kids to get home from school.
I think so. So, Chris, what do we need to do, brother?
Let's get our fucking murder on, the family style.
Hell yeah, man. Little
Mighty
guar for you.
Guar.
Little Viking death machine for you there. Getting some people in the mood here for some fucking brutalness, man. It's going to be a good one. I remember opening for those guys when I was in Low 12 at the Canopy Club in Urbana, and it was fantastic. Great show, sold out, fucking packed. Played with Human Artifacts, Matt Bishop's band.
Hell yeah, dude.
And we opened, and then it was Human Artifacts, and then Guar, and it was just sick. I mean, we went in there. We had our set because we had like 20 minutes or 25 minutes or whatever it was, and we rehearsed that set.
Oh, I bet, dude.
So
Wait,
many
hold on.
times to time it exactly right because we wanted to play the songs that we had picked. And we knew that when you play a show like that, like at 25 minutes,
You're
they're
done.
like
Yeah.
unplugging your shit. Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
done. And so we were really adamant about being able to talk a little bit to, sell some shit, you know, and talk to the crowd a little, but not, too much, So we really honed it down and we fucking just crushed it. It was probably one of the best Low 12 shows ever just because of the crowd was just monster and they were going crazy. I mean, it was cool because usually an opener, they don't really know, but I think because we were from there and a lot of the people
knew.
There were a lot of people I never saw before in my life, but there were still a good core of our fans, and so that was awesome. It was just a great night.
It's
so
a little bit of mayhem fucking involved in that. Whenever we went to that show, it was like me and Clay and fucking Testy, like like a bunch of us, dude. Back then, dude, we had a fucking 8-ball cocaine. We sat out in the parking garage, fucking did it all up, went in there. We sat by the fucking sound booth, just arms crossed. We watched the whole fucking show, just sitting there like,
Just
dude, it was
mugging.
awesome as fuck. Yeah, but it was awesome, but we were all so fucked up we couldn't even like move around and shit.
it was so funny though, seeing people come out of there like covered in that shit.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh my god, that was
God
fucking
damn.
insane, man. I was out at the merch table, so I was safe, but at the end of the night when they opened the doors, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like I knew it happened, but it was cool to see it in person.
I need to look because I mean I know I got it somewhere, but my ticket stub for that.
Oh, nice. So that was just bringing back some memories. CK, though, good to have you on for this Father's Day special show. You wanted to sit in. What is it about the List murders that interested you enough to bring it up and suggest it as a topic, man?
What is there not? Was there not to get you interested?
Of course.
There's a
the guy
lot
was
to it.
definitely the guy was definitely Father of the Year in 1971. I mean, come on.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He kills his mother. He kills his wife. He kills his 3 children.
Brutal, man.
Fucking.
Gone
And he looks
forever.
like a milkman
Gone.
or something, or
Yeah,
he's an accountant. He doesn't look like a killer.
He looks like your typical. If you looked at it, looked like your typical like father in that era.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like he'd
the
be
glasses, the hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to get away with it for almost 20 years.
Yeah. Amazing.
And elude the FBI and the authorities. What the fuck? And the way they caught him, it's just a cool story.
It is a great story.
is a
So
good
good
one.
suggestion, CK. And so that's why we've got you on for this one all the way through. Now, Chris and Joey, what about you guys? I mean, did you guys? I
hadn't
didn't
heard
know
of-
a whole. I
I
knew
didn't know a lot about
roughly that happened. The guy killed his family, but I didn't know all the backstory and all the mom and all that crazy shit. But Joey, what about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the case, only just from being into the true crime shit, but also because whenever I was younger, when on Unsolved Mysteries, that was like one of their biggest episodes, and that was a big show to me growing up as a young kid because that's probably like one of the first true crime things that was on cable.
Right, yeah, on
So
regular
seeing that
TV
as a
and
kid,
shit.
that was awesome. But so I kind of knew it from that, and then there's like other things that we'll talk about that popped up in that case along the time because he was gone for so long, on the run and shit.
Right.
The only thing I could say is I got to give it up to CK for doing fucking Thin LIzzy because the 70s thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a little surprised, Annihilator wasn't done only because, they call him the family.
Oh,
and everything,
yeah.
But, yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Truth be known, I am not an Annihilator fan.
Oh, my God. No Guar, no Annihilator, CK. That's okay.
I know it's hard to believe the great metal motherfucker
okay.
doesn't like Annihilator or Gore.
Not
but
everybody's supposed to like everything, though, CK. That would
That's
be fucking.
true.
That would be whack if we all like the same shit.
Exactly. Now, the case of the List family murders is a really fascinating one. And we're doing this case because of CK, and I knew about some of the basics, but, that was about it. And I checked out a documentary on him, and I was just like, holy shit, we got to do this. And then, Chris, you and I were talking about maybe doing a Father's Day episode and kind of throwing out some ideas.
Right,
and
since we've done, like we said, since we've done the Mother's Day.
Yeah, because we've done 3 Mother's Day episodes, right? Yeah, we've done 3, I think.
Oh, shit, we have.
So, so we were definitely due for a Father's Day, and this guy's just fucking off the hook with murdering his mom, his wife, and the 3 kids. And the way he leaves him in the house, man, I can't wait to tell this story because this is just fucking crazy
insane,
time.
dude.
This is seriously crazy.
I can't wait to tell you what popped in my mind when they said how he left it and the way he left it and the music.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I'll tell you what popped.
Yeah.
It's something totally unrelated. It's so fucked up.
All right. Well, I'm anxious to hear that.
Yeah,
That'll be
right?
good. So it's a really wild case that spans almost 20 years until justice came and fist fucked his butthole. I mean, they got him good.
Yeah, they did.
He needed it. And it's a great story. Just such a great
It's the way
story.
it worked.
Now, he was born in 1925, Bay City, Michigan. He was an only child to German-American parents at a crazy time, right in the middle of the fucking Depression. A pretty rough time for anybody. I watched this docu-series on the Dust Bowl, which would be a great podcast.
Yeah.
Because that shit went on for so fucking long, and some brutal stories of like 6 days of fucking blackness and these fucking clouds,
Just the clouds of dust and
coming
shit,
through,
dirt,
and
fucking...
how it was man-made because they overworked the fields, and it's a great story. But watching something like that was also partially during the Depression and just an awful time. So I mean, he was born into that, which is fucked up.
I would have freaking killed my kids if I had kids in that time. Like, nope. Can't deal with you right now.
There you go. Gonna pull a John List.
Hey, he
I'm
did
gonna
it
list
better
the fuck out, man.
He did it. Yeah, I'm gonna list out.
I'm gonna list the fuck out. His mother, Alma, which is a classic name for that time.
Yeah, it is.
Very strict, as you would only imagine an Alma would be. Very religious, strict, devout Lutheran. To the point of being, I would think, a fanatic. That's how she comes across to me. The father is almost 30 years older than her. What the fuck, man? And he barely spoke to John. I saw something today. That was one of my last-minute additions to this, that he referred to him as the boy, never called him by his name, and if he had something to say to him, he would tell the Alma, and she would talk to him. He refused to talk to his own
weird.
son. Pretty fucked
His
up.
fucking namesake, even.
Right. Yeah, his only fucking child.
Yeah.
He was an only child.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn, seriously? Like, pretty fucking brutal. And then when the guy dies, he's like completely emotionless about it, which I would assume you would be if you were treated like that, So he was just, very much obsessed with his mom until he decides to fucking shoot her in the fucking head.
Yeah.
Which is just so fucked up. That's why this guy's just fucking baffling, man. He's like loves his mom and obsessed with his mom, kind of like a Geen or a lot of these ones we've referred to before with the mommy thing,
Seemed to be more
But she
like,
had to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it did seem to be more like the Geen style, like you said, attraction than the Kemper. Like, I didn't see much where there was hatred.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't see
towards
much
her.
of that.
No, I mean, he shot her just like he shot everyone else.
Right,
One shot, one kill, she was done. But, he was an above average intelligence child, but he was very much an outcast, very awkward with social interaction, very shy. And Chris, we've talked about that before.
Yeah,
a lot of these guys
people get bullied for being shy or just shy because they're bullied.
Yeah, so that doesn't help. You're getting built up rage from being bullied like that and shit.
Yeah, he didn't get along with the kids in school too well. Not that he fought with them pretty much.
He was just kind of an outsider,
like you said, like a
He
loner.
he had a personality deficit.
Yeah, because he was bad
sure.
with the jobs, which we're going to get to. He couldn't keep a job because he was so fucking weird. Now, I also found out today, this is a last-minute addition to the notes, that when he was in college, his mom would take one weekend a month and spend the entire weekend with him. And like they would go and do stuff, which I guess is cool that he liked to be with his mom. But that's a little odd that his mom would come once a month and spend the entire weekend in a hotel.
She was a little overbearing.
So,
that's what I was going to say. She was super
just a tad overbearing.
Yeah, so, you got this weird thing going on with the mom, but then his dad won't even call him by his name. So just a very fucked up, kind of odd fucking upbringing, that's for sure.
Maybe his dad thought they were banging and he was jealous.
I don't know, man. Now, Chris, what is it with killers and their mothers, man? I mean, John List, he just is a religious nut just like her.
Yeah, it is that thing, I guess. Like, when you're that obsessed with your mom, and your mom's like CK said, like overbearing. She was like very protective of him and shit.
Right.
And once that happens, like, this is life now. Mom is all that matters.
Yeah,
and plus you add the religion into it,
right?
And it makes it even more fucked up because he twisted the ideas of the Bible,
right,
to fit his needs.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Joey, we see it again with religion being a part of shaping kids and just warping the fuck out of their thoughts, man.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
This is stuff that these impressionable minds are being taught as factual realizations of life. So and you get these, overbearing parents that are really, really adamant about it. I can't even imagine that. I didn't grow up in that religious of a household. I got brought up in religion, not like that. And
so did I.
Right. And my parents strayed away from it kind of, as I got older too. So once we moved out here to Illinois, it wasn't as big a deal. It was more, I guess, inbred us back home.
Right.
But yeah, I can't imagine, I know other people who were brought up very, very strictly religious. And
too.
Some of the, you couldn't even have certain conversations with them because the way they perceive things and the way I perceive things, it's like, no, this just, it's not going to work. So.
Right. No, religion can do some weird shit, man. It's obviously a good thing to most that follow it. But it's unfortunately, like with most things, there's that bad element that take it and twist it to a fucking insane fucking conclusion, as CK pointed out, and we've all been talking about here. So John List joins the Army in 1943. He did serve, and this is a very odd thing. I didn't have the time to dig into this further, but they refer to him being in the infantry, but that he worked in a lab.
Yeah, he was like a lab tech.
Now, okay, I was a scout in the Army, so I was similar to infantry, but we used light tanks and helicopters to attack. So I've been around all that. I don't know any of those dudes that are working in a lab. So I don't understand what the lab and the infantry have to do with each other. If we have any vets or service people out there that know the answer to that, just doesn't make any sense to me. And I saw that in multiple places, so I'm not quite sure if the info is off, because that doesn't make any sense.
Right, yeah. Like you said, hey,
what did the documentary said he was involved in heavy combat at the end of
Well, yeah. I know that he said he saw some combat. How much of it, I don't know, but I mean,
that's the thing,
sure.
World War II, who knows what kind of experimentations or things they were doing at that time.
And maybe what they're calling a lab isn't what we think of as. I don't know. Yeah. I've never, like I said, been in the military. I was a grunt with those dudes, except I was doing it on a vehicle.
Right.
And I don't know of any lab that ever was brought up at anything at all.
Not even the fucking bathtub meth lab.
Not even that. That was pre-meth thing, or at least that I had ever heard of meth.
All right.
So anyway, he did see some action, and he would later use that as a defense, which is kind of, the post-traumatic stress angle. He played it. I mean, hey, if you're up against the death penalty or your life, I mean, you're going to fucking do whatever you're going to do.
I'm also pretty sure
that
if anyone's ever committed a homicide, not everybody, but most anybody, and they've served before, they're going to be like PTSD.
It's going to come up because they're going to say, well, what did you do, you know? in the military. Well, I learned how to kill people.
Yeah.
That's one thing I learned how to do.
Well, I was a skilled marksman like Berkowitz.
Yeah, skilled marksman.
There was one thing that fucked him over, which we'll get into later, that has nothing to do with PTSD.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the thing, too, I listened to a podcast today where I got some of this last-minute stuff, and these two hosts, I don't know where they were from now. It was a husband and a wife. It was their first podcast, so I'm not even going to mention it because I disliked it as much as I liked it.
Right.
So I don't want to say anything negative about another
I
thing.
think it's the same one I tried to listen to. I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, it was a little hard to listen to, but anything that had anything to do with the military, they either mispronounced it, like Marine Corps and shit like that.
Ah, dude.
Okay? But then they were talking about that he made it all the way to second lieutenant, okay? As an officer, you start at second lieutenant. That's like the equivalent of a private in the enlisted side.
Right, okay.
So you come into the Army, you're a private. We're all privates, and then you move up the chain.
The same
as an officer, you come in as a second lieutenant. So I'm like, they said it like 6 or 7 times, and I'm like, oh my God, it was the same thing with Berkowitz with the marksman. He's a marksman. It's like, that's like the worst one of the 3 that you can get, That doesn't mean anything.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it does. Oh, you're a marksman in the Army. Wow, that's impressive,
Yeah, guess what? You would be too.
That's why Charles Whitman
I was a sharpshooter.
I was going to say Charles Whitman was a sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he made a big difference. That motherfucker sniping people for real. Berkowitz walked up people because he couldn't.
That would be another good one to do.
Really,
for sure.
And
Whitman would be
on
a good one.
On a few different levels. Because,
Yeah, that would be a very good one. So in 1946, he gets out. He used his GI Bill to go to the University of Michigan to get his bachelor's in business administration. He continued to get his master's in accounting and received a commission as second lieutenant. Like I said, that's the first thing that you would do as an officer if he's going ROTC. 1950, he was recalled to service, though. That sucks. You get out, then you had to go back in because of the Korean War.
I just got a degree to go do something behind a desk, not behind a gun. Come on,
yeah,
man.
I mean, he was smart, and so they got him. That's why they sent him to Fort Eustis in Virginia, which is where he winds up meeting Helen. She had lost her husband in Korea, and they seemed to hit it off right away. I mean, they got married pretty quick. She had a daughter already, Brenda.
She trapped him.
Yeah, she did, man. We're going to get to
straight
this
up
here.
trapped his
This
ass
is
too, for
definitely what I found interesting, and I'm going to get to that, is how that was completely glossed over in some of the stuff I watched.
Oh, like they
to
didn't
where
even
I'm like,
mention
they
it.
didn't even mention
Yeah.
that? I mean, that's a pretty big thing.
Pretty huge.
And I'm going to talk about why I think that might be. I'll be interested to see what you all have to say about that. But they got married a few months later in December of 1951. They have 3 kids, Patricia, Frederick, and John Jr. So we get the John... And it's fucked up because John's the one that
really
gets shot
John,
fucking 10 times.
Isn't he like? Isn't he John the Third though?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Because his dad was.
Yes. Yeah. Well, if they have the same middle name, I think you do that.
Okay.
I don't know about the middle name
too. Because
do they?
Like,
well, there's one thing for sure: there wouldn't be a John the Fourth.
No, that's
right.
He was John.
Damn.
Wow, CK.
That'd be a good grindcore fucking band name, John the Fourth. Yeah.
Man.
But no, I don't think they had the same middle name because they did call him Junior.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting though with the John thing because the way his dad was toward him. The kids, of course, are raised in a strict Lutheran home, but Helen isn't into the religious stuff, and that causes some problems with John, as well as the mother-in-law. So, mother-in-laws, sometimes, you got that icy thing going on because they don't like the daughter-in-law if it's not good enough for her boy, and all that kind of bullshit. And I think the way she was, Chris, I think she would have been kind of that way, don't you think?
Yeah, like really bad. I just think it's fucked up how she conned him into marrying her, though.
Yeah, it is. It's fucked up. I mean, it is seriously fucked up because that's an interesting thing that I think is a very huge part of the story is the way she tricks him.
And then that was like one part of because Helen was overbearing as well, a little bit overbearing over him as well.
Oh yeah, she was brutal toward him. I found that out. I added that to the notes about the way she treated him around other people. I mean, it's a fucked up thing. He gets out after the Korean War, 1952, and he gets a job in Detroit, and this would kind of start that chain reaction of jumping around with jobs.
Well, he was because they used him in the military for accounting.
Right.
They ended up going to that department for him, which was cool.
Right, which is good.
And
yeah.
isn't that what he ended up doing when he went to?
Yeah. I mean,
Detroit?
he would have been better off just staying in the military.
Yeah,
I think so
really.
too. Yeah.
It's so weird, like accountants like that. Like you hear about some, they can bounce around all over the fucking place.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm an accountant. I'm not employed right now, but I'm an accountant. You know what I'm saying? Like Paul Bernardo.
Right. Oh, that's right.
It was like you were unemployed most of the time, but you were an accountant, so it always seemed like you had a job to everyone.
Right. Exactly. You got that degree.
Yeah. We should be accountants.
I'm about to be an accountant. Fucking good idea, Casher. Shit, yeah.
So, yeah, he gets out. He's in Detroit. He gets, trouble holding down jobs. His personality, like we said, not an easy guy to get along with.
And it wasn't. He didn't have an issue holding down jobs because job performance was because, like you said, his personality.
Yeah, he's just so fucking weird.
He was just a weird dude, and nobody could get along with him and relate to him.
Yeah, I mean that movie I watched, and I know CK you did too. That Judgment Day, the John List story. Did you see that?
I
know you said I haven't watched
Robert
it.
Blake.
You sent it to me. I had seen it on.
The irony in that movie.
Oh yeah, with Robert Blake doing it for sure.
With Robert Blake.
I
But
might
he
not
played
have
a
watched
good
it for
creepy
sure,
dude,
except for
though.
that. Like, I might not have got to it yet. But
Right.
once you said Robert, I was like, what the fuck? I got to see that.
Oh
shit.
yeah, it's not bad actually. I was surprised how factual it was.
Right.
It stayed right with it. I found that's where I found out about all her medical problems. Was that
it was way better than the other references that are in fucking pop culture or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But like the Stepfather was made after him, or supposedly like the idea, but it's like nothing in those movies is really like what happened.
Right.
And then what's the fucking dude's name in Usual Suspects?
Kevin Spacey?
No, fucking or the character though, but it's supposed to be him too.
Oh okay.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking. I can't think of
fucking Spacey's character.
right or
Yeah.
man, I can't think of his name. But anyway, him.
God damn
it's
it.
supposed to be John
Right,
List, and
right.
it's like that's cool and shit. But
that movie stays with the story.
exactly that one was the one that was.
But
more
the
about story.
funny thing is, you got Robert Blake, who, like you said, who
Got away with murder. Yeah.
got away with murder. Allegedly, he killed his wife, but he was acquitted.
Yeah, he was acquitted.
So-
I mean, he's found not guilty, but it's unbelievable. But he definitely comes off as the very strong, devout Lutheran, didn't want to bend, to whatever the church said. And when his wife didn't want to go to church, freaked him out. His co-workers were often put off by him, and he frequently was passed over for raises and promotions, and he's just so fucking awkward. And he wore a suit and tie. I saw that, Chris, even when he cut his grass.
I saw that too.
What
like
the
he out
fuck,
there mowing
man?
his yard in a fucking suit and tie. Like, why the
It's so
fuck?
fucked up. And Chris, it seemed like the problems he had with money was because of, just the way he was with work. I mean, he just couldn't keep up with what Helen wanted, because Helen wanted all this stuff, and he couldn't afford it, but yet, he couldn't tell her no because she was so overbearing.
Yeah, she wanted the mansion,
Right.
the 22-room mansion that she probably knew they couldn't afford.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, the fact that
And he had to borrow money from his mother.
That's what I was just gonna say.
So
The fact he borrowed the money from his mom to get it and shit,
Right.
and now like
that must have went over well between her and the mother and, and the wife.
Oh yeah, because she'd be like, "What the fuck do you need that much house for? You got 3 kids,
Yeah, when
That's
they
crazy,
talking
man.
about fucking
19
room
rooms.
mansion,
It's
fucking
crazy, man.
with a fucking apartment, a ballroom and shit. Like, why the fuck do you even need this? You want to know? You want to fix your fucking financial problems? Downgrade your living space.
Exactly.
You don't need that fucking shit, dude.
Either that or fucking Airbnb that
Yeah,
shit. Make
something,
some money
bro.
off it.
Fuck.
The irony of it all. the irony of it all comes out a year later.
Yeah,
after the murder.
Oh yeah.
Which we'll get into, which is funny as hell.
I just had an idea for a fake commercial. We could do a list Airbnb.
Yeah, that would be
We'll shoot you when you come over your stay. You stay the night in the ballroom, yeah.
Fuck yeah. Dude.
Under the star, or gaze at the stars through the, what did they have, like a open
Tiffany fucking
the crystal, but it was a skylight.
Yeah.
Gaze at the stars, as you bleed out on the fucking floor.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
We're giving up too much information.
We are. It's just hard to not get ahead of the story. So, Joey,
it's so fucked up.
we talked about
I'm just gonna stop it all right now and tell y'all that Kaiser
Soze. That's who
that
the
was
fuck.
the
Yes.
character.
Kaiser
Yeah.
fucking Soze.
He was
Thank
supposedly
God.
taking off John List. So anyways, now back to where we were.
Sorry,
That's
no,
right.
that's cool. That's cool.
That shit was gonna bother. I was gonna wake up in the middle of the night like, motherfucker,
That's what it
Kaiser
was.
Soze.
Now, Joey, we talked about Helen, and we've been alluding to this, the stuff that she kept from him, and I think it's interesting that you don't hear about some of that depending on where you get your information. So,
Right.
what was it about that really, got this shit cooking, man? I mean, she lies. I mean, she traps his ass
From the States.
from the beginning.
Right, and from the States. Because or was Sheila over there with it? No.
She went to Korea
She did
when,
go,
when
right.
her husband was
Yeah.
stationed there,
Okay.
but that's how she got it.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
That's right. It's kind of a tricky situation because she
Right.
was fucking slick. But
She knew for years that she had syphilis, though, man,
yeah,
and it's like
which is mentally debilitating
over time,
disease
yeah,
also
because it went untreated for like
they didn't
a
treat
long
it and shit,
time.
and you can tell on pictures and shit.
Didn't you have to get? Didn't you have to get a blood test back then?
Well, see, she wanted to be married in Maryland, and you did not need a blood test in Maryland. That's how
okay.
that she,
I didn't know
that's
that
what
part.
she did. She
But,
was slick, man.
yeah.
So
But
yeah,
also, she fucking claim that she was pregnant too, but didn't have a
Right.
fucking kid.
right.
Yeah, well, that's how she trapped.
Yeah,
him.
that's
what I'm
how she
saying. That's
traps
how she
him.
trapped
Yeah.
him. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
what
and
the
Said
fuck?
she was 3 months pregnant, and he found. I guess she said she had a miscarriage, and later found out
Right.
that she was never pregnant at all.
Right.
So that had to carry some.
Yeah. So he finds
No,
out that
that-
she's lied to him,
Right.
and that she's pregnant
and
to get him
also,
to marry her.
a person with syphilis definitely shouldn't be having a child.
No.
No. Not recommended, by
No,
any
and
fucking,
she was at an advanced enough age or a state of the disease at
Yeah.
that time. I'd been told when I don't know if it was something I listened to or
You
read
said there were some kind of
that
conflicting.
that you couldn't pass it to children after a certain amount of time.
right.
That after a
Okay,
certain amount
yeah.
of time, it goes like dormant, where you still have it, but you can't.
It's
Like
not-
she didn't give it to List or the kids,
Yeah.
but
Right,
she
so
had
she-
syphilis.
She had syphilis.
But,
So-
but
so
the
what
type
else?
she had at the stage she had it meant that she wasn't going to give it to him. But
Yeah.
still, man,
So-
that's
so-
a risk
so
you
what
really
other-
shouldn't be fucking taking.
Yeah.
What
that's
other
fucked.
classic move does this bitch do? The fucking fake pregnancy. I'm pregnant.
Right.
That's a fucking
Guy's
staple
worst
in history
nightmare,
now,
yeah. Yeah,
but
of course.
back then, especially, you're
Oh
probably
yeah,
super
You
believing.
gotta marry her, especially
Yeah.
when you're religious like
Yep.
he is.
Oh yeah, you didn't have a child out of wedlock
No.
back then. That
No,
was,
you got to think
No.
that
That was-
she sat up in bed and fucking thought of all
Thought
these
about-
details.
Or what to do to
You're right. She
manipulate him.
knew
Yeah.
exactly the steps to get
Yeah.
into the exact fucking position she wanted to be.
Yeah, I mean it's very sad, but you're exactly right in my opinion. I mean that movie Judgment Day is where I first heard about the syphilis
Yeah.
thing. In my
Is
in my opinion, that I'm thinking that there may be an issue here with they didn't want to victim shame her because that's obviously not complimenting, for the woman to have syphilis. It's got a bad, not that anybody could have fucking got it. Obviously she caught it from somebody,
But
but
this is the 70s, upper middle class.
yeah, it just it's not a good thing. Let's put it that way. So I wonder if these shows have held back that detail because they figure, what does it really matter? He killed her.
Right.
But in my opinion,
They're
that's
afraid
a whole reason why he might have fucking gone over the fucking
Like
edge.
this fucking bitch. It's just
Yeah.
been stewing in his
Yeah,
head this
she
whole
lied
fucking
to me.
time.
for him.
Yeah,
It was like it was small. They said it was like small failures.
right.
So was it part of it was the failure in picking the wrong wife.
Right.
Failure in the job. Failure in that his wife had syphilis, that he was lied to.
Right.
So it was a combination of, I think, of everything leading up to that.
I agree.
To where, and the other thing is, you ever notice pictures of her? She doesn't look right.
No, no, she doesn't.
He's straight up.
Well,
she
that's
doesn't look
well,
right.
that's what I was going to say.
doesn't.
Is actually that's also very unfair to marry somebody knowing that you're in a state of eventually you're going to be in dementia, where you're not even going to be able to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And now you're going to basically throw yourself upon somebody else who has to fucking do something. I mean, it's just going to leave you to die.
Right,
so,
right.
you know,
I mean,
it's
I'm
fucked
not
up.
trying to be
It is fucked up. I mean,
not
I'm
trying
not
to be a
blaming
dick
I was,
about it.
that's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to
at
blame
all.
her that he did this, but
No,
it is pretty fucked up for somebody to have that fucking train of thought going on in their head.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy knows how to make money. We got this big ass house, or he can do all this shit for me.
Right.
Boom, I'm on the verge.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, you know, it's certainly in no way trying to say what he did was justified.
No, hell no.
Alls I think we're saying here is, yes, that's a huge fucking event. CK points out all the failures, but when you talk about being lied to about the pregnancy thing and then finding out about the syphilis and how debilitating it was to where she's getting migraines and she's bedridden and
Right.
shit and she's losing it and saying shit in public, that's pretty fucking awful.
Not also, she liked booze too.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
She was an alcoholic.
And she was popping pills.
Yeah, so
according
it's-
to that.
And I don't think John Liz was a nurturing husband type.
Right.
No, he's not. I mean, he would have needed a woman that would have been kind of the classic mom from that era.
Yeah.
He would have been like
Leave
the
It to Beaver
perfect couple,
style
right?
shit.
But she's got that, you know, obviously non-parental type. And so you get two parents that are not like good parents. You know, they're
They
just
don't-
not.
They,
you know?
they're clashing literally.
And again, we're not trying to shift blame off of him. It's just like we're trying to also understand what are the things that caused this dude to do this
Well,
shit.
yeah, of course.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously got some serious issues because most people wouldn't, under these circumstances, do what he did.
No.
But we're just trying to say that obviously, yeah, this could push a guy over the fucking edge. And I think that's, you know, a pretty fucked up situation. And I'm just surprised, like I said, it got left out of so many of the different things that I watched or read. Now, you know, I think that, you know, CK, I mean, do you think a religious guy like this could just fucking snap? You know, 3 kids into this marriage, you know, just
easily.
Everything's going wrong.
I could see it because I think not only did he have a personality deficit, I think he had a little schizophrenia as well. I don't think that was ever.
No, I never saw a diagnosis of that, but you could be right. I don't know, early signs of it.
But I mean,
man.
I think he might have had a minor case of it.
Yeah.
But he definitely had an obsessive personality complex for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, and when you take religion and you turn it to fit your own needs, as far as he gives reasons why he didn't want to do this or do that or do this, stating that, well, if they went on welfare, well, that's a sin.
Right.
I've never seen that as a sin.
Right. No, it's not. I mean, it's there as a safety net,
You know,
but in an era, too, that would have been more stigmatized, looked down on more.
That was him because he didn't want his family to be on welfare,
Right.
and he didn't want the stigmatism. It had nothing to do with religion, but he used religion to bump that point.
Well, they also said that religion is probably the key factor that caused him to justify it in his head.
Right.
He just snapped out, got rid of
Easily.
his family, but to him
Was
if
able
he-
to justify
right. If
it
he's
with
like,
his
I can do it
religious-
this way for this
Right.
reason, then he could fucking
Like
do it.
they would go to heaven.
Right.
You know they would go to
But
heaven.
it's like, motherfucker, you're just losing
Yeah.
your shit, and you're fucking gonna kill your family
Right.
because you're fucking
You're
gone.
Just lost
You're
it.
just being a selfish prick.
Right.
In the end, is what it is.
Now, in 1960, Helen, as we said, is abusing alcohol, prescription drugs. She's becoming very difficult to deal with. She would say really bad shit about him in front of others, about how he was in bed in a very, degrading way, and compared him to her late husband. I mean, no guy wants to fucking hear some shit like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, fuck that, you know.
Awesome.
So, yeah, so that's pretty shitty, obviously. So he's struggling with that. She doesn't want to go to church, so that's a real issue with him. And she is ill and becoming more and more, down, bedridden and all this and in pain and not obviously pleasant to fucking deal with that. Now her daughter Brenda, she got smart. She got married to get the fuck out of that shit. Out of there. And she wound up surviving because I'm sure if she'd have stayed around, man, there'd have been another one.
Gone too.
Number 6.
No doubts.
Well, there would have been number 6.
Yeah, that's true. The mother-in-law. Yeah. 1965, the List family would move to the nice town of Westfield. There we go.
For you, CK.
The sirens again, CK. The fucking hood of Danbury over there.
The massacre on Wildman Street.
No, that's the ambulance.
Yeah, to go to the hospital.
Going to the hospital.
Westfield, New Jersey is where they ended up. A nice little commute to New York City. Short commute. A lot of execs live there. Very nice. Upper middle class, upper echelon types living in Westfield, New Jersey.
I mean, a 19 fucking room house.
Right.
It's obviously a pretty nice area.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a VP and comptroller of a bank in Jersey City. And like we were talking, Helen's the one that's like all about this fucking mansion. And, he knows, he's got a modest income, but not enough to fucking support that.
Come on, man, dude.
But she kept on pushing it until they got it.
Right. And, they needed help. So, like Chris, you said he had to borrow money from his mom, which, hey, that's cool. Parents help you out and stuff. But, I mean, he's already in the hole, having to borrow just to get the down payment.
I am going to hit my mom up tomorrow, be like, hey, Mom, I
want to
need
buy
money
this
for a 19-room mansion with a ballroom
he hit his
and everything.
mom up, but had to move her into the mansion.
Hey, whatever.
Right. And that's how he could again justifying it.
Yeah.
They've got the mother-in-law apartment in the attic, so he's like, hey, honey, if we, get that money from Mom, we can do
Mom
this.
lives upstairs.
She lives upstairs, helps out with the bills a little bit. It might work. So I'm sure, Helen didn't want that. But I think because she so wanted that fucking house, she was like, all right, whatever. So you're already starting this thing off with like a powder keg here with the mother-in-law and Helen and then John in the middle and
literally in the middle
trying to, deal with the both of them. And so, it's crazy. So this Victoria mansion, they called it Breeze Knoll at 431 Hillside. And Chris, you live in a fucking mansion when the house has a name. I mean, that's kind of fucking...
I call my shit Shawback Nation, homie. And I live in the trailer park.
So, yeah, I mean, you got Shawback Nation. That's true.
Right,
that's
right.
True.
Yeah, just saying. I live in a mansion.
That's true. So it's kind of funny, but the whole skylight and the ballroom
the
two
skylight
living
is
rooms.
a big part of the end of the story, too. So it's fucking awesome.
Servant quarters, bedrooms, multiple bedrooms. I mean, just crazy.
For fucking 6 people.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Joey List is in over his fucking head. So this is like heading down a path of, something's about to fucking snap here.
And I mean, I don't know this aspect of this guy, but I would probably say that he's not the type of dude to air his problems out or show his weaknesses to the family or anybody else, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, he's going to keep it all bottled up.
Right, he's going to bottle everything
he's got too
up.
much pride.
Exactly.
Right.
Way too much pride, and it's just, the implosion's there.
Yeah. It's like setting the table for what's about to fucking go down.
The shit show.
Yeah. Now, the List family on the surface, as we've pointed out here, it seems like kind of the typical American family. He's very active again in the Lutheran Church. He starts having problems now, Joey, at the job in Jersey City.
Yeah.
So here we go again.
Yeah.
he starts playing fucking games with his mother's investments, which is like, wow.
He's like, hey, Mom, I'm an accountant. I'm going to have access
sign
to
me
all
a
your
power
shit.
of attorney.
I mean, just the way that it all ends up going down with everything, it blew my mind because it seemed like, he had 100% control of every financial aspect.
Yeah, and he starts tapping into that.
Yeah.
So now you've got that issue going on where he's stealing from his mother, and she doesn't know what's going on. You know, she's in her 80s, and, you know, she's unsuspecting that her son is doing this. And once he gets fired from his job, that's when the shit starts to really fucking go down the shitter.
Yeah.
Money problems become consuming. He doesn't even tell Helen, but he gets dressed up every day in a suit and tie.
This is the craziest shit to me right here.
Yeah.
Freaking getting up every morning like it's normal, like you're going to work every day.
And he would sit there and read the fucking newspaper.
He said it was for looking for a job,
Exactly.
is what he said.
Yeah. Like, dude, that's crazy. Do you remember, I mean, I know everybody's seen it, fucking falling down.
Oh, yeah.
And that's basically what he did. Afterwards, they're like, he hasn't had that job. You know, it was kind of like this dude. Like, the wife, whenever I guess she never found out. Like,
right, true.
But, you know, if you were to find out just somebody you knew had been fucking doing that, you know, every day.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, like, holy shit.
It was like 6 months, I think, of it. It was quite a while.
It was a long time.
Yeah,
like,
you're not talking about a couple of weeks.
No.
You know?
Just straight up wake up, get dressed like you're going to work, cook breakfast for the kids, do what you do, and just leave.
Yeah, and come home like you were at work and not say anything, and he's
that is fucking creepy.
And you're on
you're
on the verge of bankruptcy.
Right, and he's looking at the ledger, and he said, "I have about 2 weeks left of money."
Yeah.
And then I'm done. Like, it's all going to crash down. So that put a time limit on. He knew he had to get this done because in 2 weeks they were going to be out of money.
It's
and he
so
was
fucking hard to tell, like, you know, like we were talking about with the fucking his justifications and everything. It's like, man, was he sitting there that whole time like, I'm going to kill my fucking family? Is this going to be the day?
The only
is this going to be
right?
Every day, is this going to be the day I do
and it's
it?
like the more he thinks about it, the more he can think of why he can justify it too.
Yeah,
which probably led to like him playing the music. We'll get all that.
Yeah,
but all the shit he staged after the murders, like that shit was probably thought out.
It was totally thought out.
Oh, I think so too, man.
It was premeditated.
Yeah.
That's why the PTSD thing can stick.
Right.
It was premeditated.
Right. So, you know, everything's going fucking to hell here. He's got no fucking luck. He can't find a job. In a really good interview that he did with American Justice, he talks about the whole 2-week thing. You know, didn't have any more money left, had that much of it, and then it was going to be all gone. So that put a time limit on this urgency here. Now, CK must have been a mess having all this shit crashing down at the same time. I mean, it's just like anybody would snap in this situation. You know, you're just losing it, man.
I mean, a normal person would handle what you would talk to your wife and be like, "Hey, this is a situation."
Right.
Of
course.
But he internalized everything, didn't tell anybody.
Right.
Because his fucking pride, and he couldn't get past the fact that, you know, he's a failure.
Right.
He didn't want people to know that he was a failure, but he was.
Yeah, for sure.
In reality, he was a failure.
That's true.
And you know what? He just, instead of going one way and you know, talking to his wife, what she probably would have freaked out about or probably divorced him or whatever,
Right.
maybe she would have killed him, who knows?
Right.
But he took it the other way, and he thought, no, there's no other way, but he had to kill the family.
Right. Now he's having,
because in his eyes,
I mean, in his eyes, that was justified, like Joey pointed out, because he's able to use the religion to make it make sense, which is really fucked up.
And that's not the first person that's ever done something.
No, not at all. Jim Jones, I mean, they all, Koresh, I mean, all of them.
Yeah.
He's had,
no, and he did think about killing himself first.
right. He did.
Yeah.
But he said, but if I killed myself, that'd be a sin,
Right.
and I wouldn't get it. Everything to him was getting into
Yeah.
heaven. Even when he got caught, everything was going to
Right.
heaven.
Yeah, that's what's.
And that was a little, you know, I could understand being religious, but this dude just took it to the limit.
Of course. He's having problems with his daughter, Patricia. She's a teenager, and of course, she wants to go out with her friends. John doesn't like it. They often fought about the clothes she wore and if she had makeup.
To be an actor and shit.
Yeah,
too.
she wanted to act,
which he considered was going the way of Satan.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, he didn't like that.
Hold on, you know what's going plotting through your
Well,
head.
I mean, I'm not gonna say nothing, but man, like somebody that's that fucking square like he was back then,
right?
Coming out of the '60s, all that beatnik acting shit probably was scary to have your kids falling into that.
Oh, sure.
But,
and Helen's not helping either because she's not doing a fucking thing but getting drunk and taking pills.
She's like, woo,
sleeping in her
bed.
She's just an absent parent.
Right. And John's the one getting up, making sure they eat breakfast, getting them to and from school. He's doing all the parenting here. So, I mean, for his faults, I mean, he's at least was doing that kind of stuff.
Work, yeah.
His mother...
They said he was a decent father.
Yeah.
Everybody who knew said he was a decent father.
That's right. Yeah, so was BTK. Very true. His mother's getting older and fights more with Helen over the kids and, how she's raising them and the typical mother-in-law crap when people are just not getting along. So she probably figured Helen just wasn't good enough for her son. And you get that whole relationship with them, which is why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Because I think that is going on here. His relationship with Helen, which is fucked up. Helen clashing with the mother-in-law. I mean, this is
trying
just...
to keep them both happy and shit, and your fucking head's just like, I can't do it.
Yeah, this is a fucking shitstorm getting ready to fucking blow.
These motherfuckers are going to have to get along or I'm going to kill them, like literally.
Oh, right. And also, I can't afford the home we live in.
That's right.
And also, I can't afford this.
Right.
Yeah.
I hang out at the bus station and think about killing y'all.
So he struggles with what he should do to solve the money problem with, again, this deadline coming up at 2 weeks. He's got no job, struggling to work with computers, which he struggled. They showed that in the movie about how he was, fighting technology because he was old school. And they're like, no, you have to use a computer. That's how we do it now. And he was just really having a hard time with that. And I get it, we're, none of us are getting younger and, you get into
think about
jobs
it, back in the 70s and shit, like they were fucking new shit to people, like straight up new shit to people.
Oh, of course, yeah. So you could see why he would be intimidated by it, But he really had a problem with the whole welfare thing as we've brought up. I mean, the thought of them going on welfare was just not going to happen. He knew they'd have to live, in a bad place, in a bad part of town. In his mind, that's what he thought. And, the only way he could save his family from being embarrassed by being poor and on welfare is to fucking kill him, which is absolute insanity.
I mean,
that's crazy.
The best thing. That's the best thing.
That's
like,
the best thing.
Look. I'm broke as fuck.
But
I ain't got no job. I think about killing you guys all day. Because
they would go to heaven.
They would go to heaven.
Now, see, something on that podcast I listened to, they made reference to the daughter had been bringing it up at school, which is why that drama teacher was out there.
Showed up at the house.
Because she had been telling people that her father had told them that he was going to kill him. That was the first time I'd ever heard that.
I never saw that.
And I only heard it on this a podcast. So, I mean, we're doing a podcast.
I never heard
I haven't
that.
either, so I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that's very interesting because the drama teacher was the one out there that was really freaking out about what was going on with the cops.
No shit.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So that was his rationale: was killing them was better than going on welfare. Which, I mean,
that's better than going on welfare.
Yeah, right. I mean, dude, really?
Shit.
I mean, Chris, what the fuck with this guy? I mean, Jesus,
he's fucking insane. Like we've been talking, he's doing it because he wanted to.
Yeah.
No other reason. All this time thinking about it.
That's right.
I think in reality he just wanted to start a new life and say,
I agree. And this was the way he was able to do that.
And you know what? The family was going to be a byproduct of all this, and they had to go.
Now, Joey, Liz believed that in killing them, he's saving them, making sure they got into heaven, which is obviously very twisted.
Yeah.
And we've seen that with religious fanatics.
Yeah.
I mean, even the war, the jihad, the Al Qaeda, those religious fanatics, they do their shit and
believe,
that Allah is telling them to do this. And, you're obviously taking a religion that overwhelmingly is great for a lot of people that follow it.
Yeah.
It's these fuckheads that have to put the bad name on it, and this guy's no different. I mean, he's a fucking kook, and he's using it to fit his needs, and like CK said over and over, and we all have, the failure thing. It's just, it's building, and he doesn't know how else to deal with it, so this is what he decides to do.
And it's sure not the last time we ever heard or will hear about, trying to save somebody to put them in heaven through that act. I mean, you can be a mom in Texas and drown all your kids in the bathtub. Right. And your one reason is because you want them to be fucking angels forever. Yeah. That's some crazy shit. Yeah. Yeah. It's like I said, that won't be the last time we hear some shit like that, unfortunately.
No, not at all. No. It'll happen again.
No. Now, November 9th, 1971, John List methodically murdered his entire family, known as a family annihilator. I did not realize that was an actual thing. That's pretty fucking crazy. Yeah. He used 2 of his guns. One was his dad's, one was his, which is fucked up because the one that was his dad's apparently is the one he used to kill John with, and John was the only one that he used that gun with, and he shot him 10 fucking times. So the other ones just got 1 bullet to the head, but for some reason John got fucking.
So he actually kind of put up a fight a little bit.
He did,
or whatever.
Yeah, he did, but it seems like he fucking just emptied that shit into him.
Right.
But it was
supposedly he had involuntary body movements.
Yeah, right, and he just popped a couple more, make sure he did.
They
like,
said,
I'm out.
They said the other gun that he used, like, he had just bought it as like a World War II relic or something.
Oh, right.
At first, like, that was the only reason he got it.
Right.
And then, he's like, oh, and he had it, and he fucking bought ammo for both of them.
Right.
It's like, oh, I might as well try it out.
I got too.
Yeah, that's
first time shooting this gun. Great.
So he saw the kids off to school, and then he was messing around in the garage. He comes in, he shot Helen in the back of the head. Yeah. She was only 46, so one shot right there at the kitchen table. Then he went up to the attic apartment where his mom was. Alma heard a gunshot. She wasn't sure what it was.
She was eating breakfast up there.
Yeah.
No, she he just comes up like
that. He cooked her.
Yeah.
Dude, everything about this is so fucking ate up. Like,
ain't it, dude?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he shoots her above their left eye. Yeah. She drops. And then she's too much for him to get downstairs, so he just says,
little too heavy.
So
that's what he said. A little too heavy.
A little too heavy to move.
He threw like a towel over her face, and that's like the only thing he did.
Yeah.
And the way her body was too, she was like on her knees and she fell backward.
Yeah.
So her legs were like all
underneath her.
Yeah, it was really weird looking. So I'm like, fuck, that's pretty crazy.
Off, dude. Like,
yeah,
that's a good way to get cramps.
Yeah, for sure.
She already went through menopause, CK.
No, cramps in the
Twice. He left her body upstairs and covered her face with a sheet. At some point, he fixes himself some lunch, which cracks me up, and waits for the kids to get home. I mean, seriously?
He said...
Your wife and
your
mom
asked him about
are dead.
that, and he was like, yeah, that's just what was happening. Yeah. I was hungry.
Let's make a sandwich.
He also said because of the military.
He'd go out there and he'd be going like, just eat.
Hey,
like,
where did he eat the sandwich?
In
right
the
where
kitchen.
he shot his fucking wife at the table.
Yeah. Right.
Where he had just cleaned up the blood off the That's so fucked up.
And
because he had to clean all the blood because he didn't want the kids to freak out.
Right.
And
you got a 19-room fucking mansion. You couldn't have gone and eaten in the living room or something. You got to eat right there where your wife's fucking brains were all over the fucking table.
But you're right. I didn't think about that. Like the military like instillment of routine.
Oh, yeah. Killing is just part of the job.
Right.
So it's just fucking crazy. Then he goes, he closes out the bank account, his mom's shit. He's got the power of attorney, so he can do it.
Stops the milk order and the fucking
newspaper.
Yeah, the newspaper.
Right.
Like, he did all that shit, like...
I know, so fucking calm and collected,
it's so weird.
Like a checklist.
Why do you even
totally
care?
Know. This motherfucker had a list, man. He was crossing the shit up. I mean, his name is List,
That's true, okay.
Gotta have a fucking list.
Nice. I like the way you did that.
Thank you. He shoots Patricia and Frederick separately as they get home from school. And this is where it gets really fucked up. He takes the bodies, drags them.
Hold on, wait. Before you get... Did you see... luckily, she called and said that she was sick.
Oh yeah, so that's right.
It worked out for him because he was fucking contemplating how the hell he was going to do both of them at the same time.
Oh sure.
All of a sudden she calls and she's like, "Can you come pick me up?" And he's like, "Boom, perfect."
Yeah,
got you.
That's
true.
Fucked up.
That is true. I remember.
The way it worked out for him.
It worked out
in that manner.
And then the other kid had a soccer game.
He's like, "I'm going to go watch this game."
Yeah.
Watch.
So he kills
this motherfucker.
He kills the two kids, drags them into the fucking ballroom, and he arranged the bodies like it would be at a funeral.
Yeah,
with the mother up top and then the kid. I mean, pretty.
The mom was too heavy, or she would have been down there.
That's right.
right.
And they also said that the wife's body was like all like. The skirt was like not like pulled up, but it was like all ruffled
disheveled.
Up, and the kids were like neatly laid down with blankets or sheets over them. But she was just like, "Fuck you."
He probably figured he didn't know if she was really going to get into heaven because he probably considered her a sinner.
Because of the syphilis and the
so he probably
lies
didn't care as much with his kids.
Probably. And then also, what's fucked up, like we just said, he goes to the high school there in Westfield to watch his son
John Jr. play soccer and just sit there chilling.
Watch the whole game.
Just kill the rest of your family, son.
Right.
Yeah. Guess who's next?
How do you sit there and watch a soccer game knowing that you just did that?
In the interview that he gives, he goes, "Oh," and he played a good game.
Yeah. That's nice.
Says he played a good game. Oh.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, normally, Chris or CK, when you have a good game, your dad takes you like to Carvel.
I was
going
to say, man,
really?
Get an ice
did he take him over to Friendly's and get him some fucking ice cream?
I don't fucking think so, man. There was no Friendly's in this fucking trip, man. He took his ass home.
No, he gets 10 bullets in the fucking
He does, man. John Jr. fights back, like you said, Chris, but, he's got a fucking 2 guns here, so... He unloads, but I heard in that one podcast, again, I don't know if this is true because I only heard it in one place, but that he used the dad's gun to kill John, but he used his gun to kill the others.
Yeah, I don't know 100%
and he
about
put 10 bullets in him. But again, that's what I heard, so I don't know that it's true or not. It's just interesting, if that is true, that would be fucked up. He drags his body into the ballroom with the others, and then he goes around and cuts his face out of every picture in the house. That's fucked up.
That's so fucked up.
Because they got no pictures of him.
Yeah.
That was the other thing.
So fucking weird.
So there's only like 2 pictures of him. One's like his military, and I don't remember the other college or high school or something.
Looks like straight up a fucking goddamn 1950s fucking radio DJ.
Totally, man. Yeah, for sure. Buddy Holly and shit.
Like for real.
Yeah, he does. So it's pretty crazy. Then he has dinner in the middle of this whole thing. So he's had lunch. He's now eating dinner, Joey. So he's very, very satisfied.
He's
Maybe he had a coffee and a donut. Went to
Hey.
back to the kitchen to fucking.
Hey, family side's hard work, bro.
I guess he writes a few letters. Of course, the big one they talk about is the letter to the pastor, which became the thing in his trial, which we'll talk about. And he explains in the letter why he did what he did and how he justified this and the whole evil in the world and saving his family from it. He eats dinner, sleeps, and in the interview, CK, did you see where he talks about how he slept pretty good, man? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How do you sleep in the house?
A fucking night of calm for him.
Yeah, because it was over. So he was like, he actually said he slept pretty good.
Yeah, I would be freaking out.
With a bunch of corpses in your house.
Yeah, like, are they going to come get me?
It's a big ass 19 motherfucking bedroom, motherfucking.
Can you get any creepier, man?
It's like you said,
it's like every horror movie
like,
from the 70s you could possibly think of.
Exactly.
Like I said, this guy wasn't right to begin with.
Then you go a few years later, and Ed Kemper's like, "You pussy, your mom's head was up there, and you didn't cut it off in face fucking."
Yeah, and shove her vocal cords down the garbage disposal. Wuss.
Pussy.
Now, Chris, it was nice of him though to turn the heat down to preserve the body. Such a thing.
It does.
He's looking out for his environment.
He turned the heat down and the radio up.
He did.
That's right. Joey, what the fuck with that, dude? A religious station that played classical
He wanted
music.
to make sure they got to heaven in the right soundtrack, man.
How fucking creepy is that in this big old house?
And you know who is the creepiest for is the motherfuckers that first walk in on the scene. And you're just like,
God.
what the shit?
They talk to those guys in the
shit.
documentary, and it's like, oh my God, you walked in, it was like music you'd hear at a funeral parlor, and you get these bodies laid out in this arrangement.
And there's this big ass mansion. It's
Wow.
cold as fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, because it's December, they find the bodies.
well,
So-
also we turn the heat down so
Yeah,
we
so it's
preserve the
cold.
body so it
So
doesn't
it's cold.
stink in there so bad. It's
Not
cold
too
as
bad.
fuck.
Yeah, it's like a fucking meat locker.
Get it down.
Yeah.
Get it down to about 50 degrees. Preserves the body for a while.
I guess. I don't know how the fuck he did it.
You have to do the opposite
It's
of
nuts.
it with the Kendall Francois, the Poughkeepsie, sometime.
Oh, yeah.
And if you guys end up doing that, because that dude did the exact opposite and just kept some deteriorating bodies fucking hanging
All over
around.
the place.
Yeah.
God, that's so fucked up. So yeah, he does all these things. What was crazy about the story too? There's a lot of crazy things. That Helen's mother was actually ill, because he said that the kids and Helen were going back to wherever her mother was living.
Yeah.
To visit because she was ill and this. So that's how he justifies the kids not being in school. Buys them some time.
Yeah.
Got
But
a whole fucking month.
yeah, now Chris, she would have been the sixth victim because she was going to come out and visit them.
Yeah.
And so she would have been in the house, and her ass would have got a fucking
Which
bullet.
he fucking said that. He said
Yeah.
she would have been the sixth.
Oh, sure. He does, yeah. So he winds up driving to Denver. He gets in his car. He fucking takes off. Music playing, fucking house nice and cold.
Well, didn't he leave his car? Didn't he leave his car in New Jersey?
Oh, they found it at the airport.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
found it at the airport.
They
JFK,
did find it at the
right?
airport,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which,
And so they did-
but he didn't look like he flew out of there at all.
Yeah,
No,
not
he
at
did
all.
not.
He took
So
a bus.
Yeah.
He might have, yeah.
Yeah, he
that's
took a
probably-
bus and went to Denver.
That would make sense. And this was at a time where it would have been a lot easier to disappear, than it would be
Yeah.
today, of course. The bodies are found like a month later, so in December.
Now here's where my OCD kicked in with the
Oh, okay.
documentary. It's a month later, right? I'm assuming he probably had a nice stereo system. Okay, listen. Now that receiver probably had was a tube amp, right? Imagine how hot that thing must have been after a
Oh,
month
wow. Yeah, that's
of
true.
being on.
Just ridiculous.
That's,
yeah.
that's where my thought process took me.
Back then, yeah.
How is he dealing with the fucking stereo? That's pretty funny.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
That's classic, though, dude.
So now he's Robert Peter Clark, which he got that name, what I read, from a classmate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
it was
classmate's
a
like, I don't
former
even know who
college-
the fuck
college-
that dude was. Like, he
Yeah.
wasn't his friend or anything.
No, he wasn't. He just
Was
used the
supposed to be a
name.
college roommate.
Oh,
Just used the
college
name.
roommate. Okay.
Yeah.
And he leaves the lights on to make people think they weren't home, that they were home
All
but,
day long.
Yeah, but the neighbors start to
Nonstop.
notice the fucking lights are always on, and then they
never
start
any
burning
activity.
Then they start burning out one by one, and that gave off
Like,
the
wait, something ain't right.
CK,
man.
the light bulbs didn't
Yeah.
last as long as the receiver.
out. That's true.
No, exactly.
The police are called by Patricia's drama teacher because, like I said, he was really worried. He had heard some things.
He's out there throwing fucking pebbles at the little girl's
Right.
window, like, "Hey, why ain't you been calling me
Right.
lately, fucking creeper?"
That's right. You're not texting me back, bitch. Patricia had told him and others at her school that the father had told them he was going to kill him. Again, I only heard that from one place, but that's pretty fucked up if that's true.
If that's the case, like, how the fuck don't you act on something like that?
Right,
Well,
why
right.
don't you go
I
look?
mean, I get it. Fucking, that's definitely not fucking believable at this.
And in that time
Right.
too, that's a family matter.
Right.
That's how it would have been looked at more.
Let him
He's
kill
gotta
him.
kill the
Not
shit
like
out of y'all.
today,
That's
where
y'all.
DCFS is
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
bam. This is in an era where people were more close
Right.
to the vest with family
Right,
stuff.
right.
So that was more taboo, I think, than it would be today.
It's like the drama teacher's in bed with his wife, like, man, I hate to say it, but I think that little girl's going to get killed by her dad this week. Like, she said it, but that's on them.
That's on them. I can't do shit about it.
But no, you're right, though. He was the one that showed up at the house and called the cops.
And the cops go in an open window. And
which I don't know if this is true. He was like, hey, go through that open basement window. You can get in.
I know.
Like he knew or something. I don't know if that's
I don't
true.
know. Maybe he was going around the house to try to see if he could get in. And then the cops got there. I don't know. It does seem suspicious that he knew where the open window was in this 19-room fucking mansion. Of course, once inside, they know something's going on. They hear this music. The bodies are in the ballroom. Under the fucking beautiful fucking crystal skylight. And all this shit. It's fucked up. And it's laid out, I had been told, like a visitation where the mother's at the top and then the kids are laid beneath her.
Right.
Really fucked up. CK, I couldn't imagine being these fucking cops. I mean, I know being a cop, you see some shit, but man, this is definitely more than some shit,
Yeah. Yeah, seeing a whole family murdered, and then, I'm sure they had to be decomposing it.
I mean, it's cold, but they're still gonna. Yeah, they're not
a month
froze
into
yet.
it. Yeah, they're decomposing.
Then they're going around and they realize that everybody's there except for John.
Right.
So they go looking for him and they find the mother.
Yeah, and then they found the letters.
They found the letter, and the letter said,
they found
hey,
the letters
by the way, mom's upstairs in the hallway.
Right.
Yeah.
So they knew,
like an afterthought.
Yeah, at first they thought maybe he was dead too. They couldn't find a body, and then they realized, holy shit, he's not here. Here's these notes.
Got a whole month head start.
Right.
Ugh.
So he's in Denver under his new identity, as we talked about. The case received major news for a while, as it was the biggest crime in the state of New Jersey. The only thing that's the bigger news story in New Jersey was the Lindbergh baby kidnapping, which was really big at the time.
Yeah.
For our younger listeners that may have no fucking idea what the hell the Lindbergh baby kidnapping was, it's an interesting story, but it's from back in the day.
And fucking hugely sensational.
It was very sensationalized. Hundreds of tips poured in, but lists disappeared. Strangely, though, I thought this was interesting. The house is burned down to the ground 9 months later, and with it, any possible evidence. Not that you really needed any other than what they already fucking had. As the years go by, of course, the case is cold, but Helen's family is livid that John got away with the murders.
And nobody's found him,
Yeah, I mean, there's just no answers here. Alma's body's flown to Michigan for burial, and Helen and the children are buried there in Westfield, New Jersey. Now, Joey, I mean, I saw some speculation that it was List that burned the house down, or do you think this is more of like a Gein's house where one of the neighbors is like, fuck this, I'm not dealing with this
I can kind of see it one way or the other. Like, I can see how it could go either way.
Right.
And so obviously we don't know, but in my personal opinion, I feel like it's more like the Gein situation. I feel like it was an outsider.
Right.
I think once List was gone from that scene, he was gone from that scene.
Yeah.
And then like we were talking about, the skylight and all that's in the house. At that time, that home contained a Tiffany chandelier.
Right.
That's right now valued at $600,000, over $500,000. Back then it was like $200,000, but to them it would be like over $500,000.
Right.
That was in that house,
Could've
right? And it was supposedly,
if he was smart enough to realize it, he wouldn't have to go through all this shit. But I think in his mind he wanted to do it anyway. I think he was just fed up. But
they said that it was
fed up with
it was fucking signature Tiffany.
Yeah.
So I mean everything about that. Everything points in the same thing, like CK is just saying right now. I agree that I really think that he just wanted to kill his family.
Right.
And the justifications, I even think the way that he set them up and the religious aspect and with the music and all that, I think he used that to kind of cover his tracks for if he got caught or something like that. Because that was going to be his ultimate defense, plus if he fucking made himself believe that.
Right.
But no, I'm with CK. Like, I think he just fucking hated his fucking life, wanted to change it, and was going to fucking wipe out everything about it.
Right.
But I don't think that he set the house on fire.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think he would have. I don't think he would have wanted to go back there.
Fuck
like
no!
that.
I think he fucking
He
split.
was glad to be gone. So I'm thinking it was more of a neighbor or a few neighbors. Like, you know what? Fuck this. You know, I'm not dealing with this. People coming
Burn
down
the
there.
house of evil.
Yeah, they don't want it there anymore.
I mean, you
yeah.
got to think this is such a prominent area too. That there other aspects to it, like we're not going to have these fucking crazy shit come to our town.
Right.
Over this
Where's
shit.
that list house?
Yeah,
It could
exactly.
also been like,
Where'd all those people get
maybe
killed?
even the cops are just straight up like, fuck it, let's tell the fire department we're lighting it up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's what happened with Geen. The fire
Yeah.
department's, the chief's mom was the one strung up in the fucking house.
Right.
Right.
And so he's like, oops, it took us a while to get to that fire.
Yeah.
My bad.
Gee, too
Right.
bad. You know, it's burned to the ground. Oh, what a shame, you know. So I think it was one of those, and it could have been a combination of all these things. I just think it was interesting. He winds up getting a job, though, in Denver as an accountant. As you guys pointed out, Bob Clark is his new name. Ends up changing jobs again in Denver. Gets involved in the Lutheran Church, which is no surprise. And he meets another lady, Dolores Miller. He, of course, lies and tells her he's a widower, that his wife died of cancer, which is just fucked up. She has absolutely, obviously no idea. They get married, 1985.
Like I said, start a whole new family. He's got
Yeah.
no kids of his own now.
Yep,
She
no
has
fucking strings.
She has a daughter, but she's older, so it's
Right.
not like he's raising fucking kids.
Yeah, he's pretty into this situation here. They wind up moving to Virginia after Liz takes a job as an accountant. Sounds like he's still jumping around.
It's so crazy that he's still an accountant too.
Yeah.
Like, because you have to go get a new fucking degree for that, right?
I don't know. I'm sure states differ, where they honor the certification from one state.
But certification, he's fucking goddamn Bob Clark. He's not John. His certification's all
true.
in fucking John
Yeah, but
List.
if he's able to forge somehow that he was Bob Clark, I'm sure back then it was
sure
to
It's
forge
a
a
lot more
college
easier.
degree
I
or whatever.
Yeah, I guarantee he had fucking social security card, ID, like all
Yeah.
that shit fucking in that other name.
Yeah.
Probably way easier back then.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure. And as an accountant, he would be able to, know how to probably work shit
You
like
know
that.
people.
So but then he starts having problems with Dolores as he was having with Helen. So, she's not as religious as him. He's very devout. May 1989, this is amazing. I love the way this story ends. 17 years after the murders,
So long, dude.
America's Most Wanted,
Yep.
their first season, they were very skeptical of the story because they didn't think there was going to be any way they could credibly age him to make him look like he would that many years later.
They only got the couple pictures, dude. Like,
They turned it down
Yeah,
the
they
first time.
did. I mean, they really didn't want to do it. But then when they got this fucking bust, which is crazy here. So America's Most Wanted is going to do the story on John List. Now, how crazy is this that he was a fan of the show,
watched it all the goddamn
told
time.
all
his
kinds of
friends,
people
watch
about
your
it.
show.
And told his friends about it.
and
to
he
watch
was
it.
watching it the
And-
night that his episode is on, and his wife is
Right.
right
And he
there,
always-
but she was asleep, and she didn't hear it.
And he always said, he goes, I wondered if they would do anything.
Yeah,
with
he
my
was waiting
situation."
for them to do his story.
Yeah.
And he was completely shocked, though, when he saw they come up with this bust
Like the
of
way-
his likeness is
Yeah, and if you
fucking
watch
real.
the whole
man.
thing,
Look
you watched
exactly
how they did
how
that,
they
how they
made
made
it,
that
yeah.
bust.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing,
everything
man.
they did, like everything they just took the scar behind his
down
ear,
to the
fucking, the
fucking
glasses.
glasses.
It's like holy shit,
It was
dude.
perfect.
Were the exact
It was
same
literally
glasses
like
he wore.
the dude making the bust was right there looking at him and doing it.
Amazing. I actually tried to see if I could contact that guy. His name was Frank Bender. He was the
Right.
forensic sculptor. He's passed. He was an older guy when they did that forensic files. But check out the forensic files on John List because it's really cool. They show this sculptor, Chris, you were talking about it, how he makes it with very limited pictures.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not like he had a bunch of shit to work with, And so he makes him look, and it is a fucking dead ringer. I mean, when they showed that on the TV show, they got flooded with fucking calls.
Like,
but
I
the
know
most
that
credible
was the neighbor from fucking
the neighbor in Denver.
Colorado.
His former
Yeah,
neighbor.
she's like, I know Bob Clark. That's him.
That's him right there.
Wore a suit all the time.
Yep.
You know, very involved in the Lutheran
glasses,
church.
and they mentioned the scar that he had from a surgery or whatever,
Right
behind
on his neck.
ear or
They
whatever.
said John Walsh kept that bust.
He actually donated it to a
Did he?
museum.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know he had it for a
the
while.
National Museum of Crime and Punishment in Washington, D.C.
That's
He
awesome.
donated it. It's been a few years ago. But yeah, Frank Bender's amazing. I wish he was still around because I would have loved to have tried to get him on here. That he seems like a really interesting guy to talk to. But the way he did that was unbelievable. That's what did it. That's what got him caught because, like you guys said, the glasses, I mean, so dead on. And so the next door neighbor did him in because she had their address in Virginia. So
because that was
her friend.
His wife was her best
so
friend.
she kept in touch. Hey, give me your address. You know, we'll write. Back in the day when you wrote to people.
And then when the cops got there, he wasn't there, but his new wife, she's like, no, that's not him. Whatever.
Right.
I'll tell you exactly where he's at. You can go talk to him right now.
Exactly.
Fucking,
she had no idea,
like,
man.
They said, are you John Litt? When they got to him, like, you John Litt? He's like, no, my name John
But
Clark.
Robert
Like,
Peter Clark. Yeah.
Robert Peter Clark,
Yeah.
And he kept that up even after they fingerprinted him and they knew it was him, and he still kept it up until he got into court.
Until he had to.
Yeah.
He said that he wasn't John List.
They even matched him off the military fingerprints. They're like, it's you, but okay.
Right, exactly. Okay.
Well,
Right.
So the woman who lived next door to him, you know, was the one that did it in. It's just crazy. So 9 days later, man, they caught him. Chris, the way they aged it, you know, to make him look almost 20 years older from just a couple of photographs. I mean, that's all they had. Just amazing,
it was
man.
pretty fucking awesome. Like watching him, like we were talking about, like when you watch the forensic files on it.
Yeah.
You see him, they show him like working on it with the way he's sculpting it and the way it came out, the eyes, like we said. It was fucking badass.
Yeah, because it shows it in the various stages when you watch it. I can't say enough how cool it is.
They got to go from like a skull, and then he's got to like the different thicknesses of skin on the different places of the face. He puts padding down and molds the clay all around that.
Yeah.
And the way, like, that's fucking genius, the way he took a skull and made that.
Yeah, and you can see the side by side is just holy crap.
From a couple old ass fucking pictures that
I know.
it's fucking crazy, dude.
I know, and List himself was shocked when he saw how much it looked like him. He was blown away. Like, I didn't know they could do that.
They were
It's
so
just
good at that.
creepily
It
eerie.
is, man. So, you know, first he's not going to admit it, even after he's extradited back to Jersey, even with proof of fingerprints. Eventually, though, as you guys mentioned in court, in 1990, he has to, you know, come clean and admit that he is John List. The psychiatrist said he had OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and in his mind, he only saw two choices: to go on welfare or kill the family. There was no in between.
I know people with OCD. I don't. I mean,
that aren't doing shit like that.
Yeah. I mean, they're not
it's
doing
kind
that.
of scary because I'm kind of the same way with that to some things. So it's like, holy shit, this kid's got OCD. Wow, I kind of do too. But
I kind of want to kill people.
But
now.
I've
Not
I've
to that
never
extent.
had the thoughts of that. That's for sure. On April 12th, 1990, John List is convicted of 5 counts of first-degree murder. And even at his sentencing hearing, he blamed his mental condition, you know, for what happened. He wouldn't own up to anything. The judge fucking laid into his ass, gave him the max, 5 life sentences to run consecutive. He, you know, filed the usual appeals like anyone would.
Why would you not try?
Of course.
Maybe I can get out
Who
of this.
knows? Yeah. One appeal blamed the PTSD. Another one, the lawyer said that they shouldn't have read the confession letter because he
it's
wrote
supposed
it to
be
his
sent the
pastor.
priest. Yeah,
And it's like a attorney-client privilege with the pastor and the
right, but
the parishioner or
But
whatever.
now when it comes to murder,
Right. And when
Exactly.
they're going to do harm to somebody else or harm to themselves, that goes out the window. So the courts were like, "Fuck you," upheld the life sentences. The interview he did with Connie Chung in 2002 is the one on American Justice on YouTube. He says he regrets what he did, but he's still, a complete and total fucking piece of shit. And as we mentioned,
he also still thinks that his whole family's in heaven, and he still thinks he's going to go to heaven.
Right?
Yeah,
because God
you
forgave
killed the family.
him.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not going to heaven.
No,
dude.
I mean he thought, like we said, suicide was an unforgivable sin, and if he killed himself, he wouldn't get into heaven. So in his eyes, if he eventually over time would be forgiven, then when he dies, he would join them. Heaven. And I'm thinking, even if he joins them, would they be up there like,
hey, motherfucker,
you're not fucking sleeping here, bitch? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Your second wife, huh?
Yeah, I don't fucking think so.
You go to the other side of the cloud. We stay there. You go to the other side.
So the thought process, CK, is just so fucking nuts. I mean, I know we're laughing about this. This is far from funny in real life, but I mean, it's just so fucking warped.
But the
and
dude's
whacked.
also had so fucking long to sit there and think about what he was going to say if he ever got caught.
Oh, yeah.
He had this fucking whole wild
better
ass
part
situation.
of 2 decades.
Yeah.
Like fucking,
He was like, if I ever get caught.
But he said in the interview that after a while it just faded from his mind.
I mean, as fucked up as it may be, I kind of feel like that's
Believe
probably
it.
the truth.
He compartmentalized it
Like,
and just put it away,
especially
man.
when you get past even just like 3-5 years, nothing's happened, and all of a sudden 10 years, nothing.
Why do serial killers keep so many trophies? Because without them, they would forget. You know what I'm saying? That's
he wanted to forget.
And even a crime that fucking huge, it can be fucking erased from your memory or just doled out. Apparently, and not saying that I know that, but but that's what these people say, and that's why the serial killers need that stuff, because that's how they relive it so fucking vividly.
Wow. He would die in prison March of 2008 from pneumonia. One interesting thing about John List is that he was one of the many suspects believed to be the
D.B.
Sweeney, that air piracy case in 72.
Love that. That's such a great mystery. And
I
the fact
know.
that John List is, I don't really think it was him, but
I don't either.
But it's cool to think that he could have. He had, like, all that shit does kind of add up.
Yeah, the amount of money he
I
took,
doubt it was him, but,
$200,000.
man, it's such a good story.
They're saying that that's about what List needed to get out of his problems. So very interesting, but no direct evidence, of course, about it. And List denied that he was. It's just very interesting, and it would be a good one to do sometime.
Like I said, I highly doubt it's him, but man, if somebody's going to do it, it would be an ex-military that fucking
that
needed
knows
the
exactly
money.
what
And obviously fucking don't give a fuck because you killed your whole damn family.
Right.
So another odd twist here, we talked about it with the crystal that they found. It's worth at the time $100,000, but in today's money, $610,000.
Over $500,000.
It's unbelievable. And if he would have known that and sold it, or done the smart thing and just sold that fucking house and gotten the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I mean just
that would have been go get a smaller house.
It's like, bro, you can go get a 10-bedroom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can go to
it scale down. There's no ballroom in the other house, but there's a real nice rec room in the basement.
I also thought it was crazy though that thing that could have got him out of that if he had just sold that Tiffany.
Right.
Is in the same room where he put the body.
Exactly. I thought it was part of the skylight. I think.
Yeah, it was a skylight.
But I mean, that's all part.
It's so fucked up.
That's why I so fucking think
irony,
that he was about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was gonna kill him. It's like you had that. You know what your shit's worth a little bit. Like you get a house like that, you're gonna get an appraisal on the chandelier or whatever.
You would think.
But also because this motherfucker, every day that he went to the train station, wherever he went, sat reading the want ads and all this and that. If he was that fucking freaked out, he could have walked his ass 2 jobs to apply for things to get something going. I never heard of him trying.
He just fucking spent all that time.
He basically just fucking gave up and quit, is how I saw it. And that's why I feel like he was just going to fucking wipe the slate clean.
Yeah, I think you guys are right, man.
Exactly.
I do know another house was eventually built there, but, nothing more than that.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything to add to this one? Anything I didn't cover you guys want to bring up?
I think we kind of fucking killed this motherfucker.
I think we covered it 100%. I think we covered this.
Yeah,
bitch
we're at
100%.
an hour and 40 minutes, so we're deep into this one, and
yeah,
we're
I think
still
we
in
killed it.
murder. So
We've checked off the
it's
list.
a good story, though. It really is. The research that I did for this one were the 2 documentaries. I mentioned the American Justice as well as the Forensic Files. The Forensic Files was in a 1996 episode, if you're looking. American Justice was 2003, and that features the interview, which is well worth watching.
Yeah.
That one was, really the better one of the 2. I thought. I like both of them. I also really liked the movie, which I thought was going to be shitty. Judgment Day, the John List story with Robert Blake, which is funny because of the whole thing with Blake suspected of killing his wife and all that, and
You're right.
he was found not guilty.
Still, it is fucking crazy.
It is kind of crazy, but it is a very good movie. He does play a good creepy John List, and I think it's well worth watching. So, and it's free on YouTube. You can watch it if you type in Judgment Day, the John List story. And that was the one place that I really saw a lot about Helen's health and her side of this, with the nagging and the very demanding type wife. And when you've got the mom doing that and her doing that, and you throw in the lied about being pregnant and didn't tell them about having fucking syphilis, I could seriously see somebody fucking snapping the fuck out.
It all built up.
It really did. But I think the movie did a very good job of showing that, which I thought was very impressive. I thought it was going to be dumb and really blown out of proportion, but they followed the story, as far as I could tell, exactly as it went down.
You know what I always wondered? Because I never saw any, maybe you saw something in your research and stuff. I never saw anything else about, like, Brenda.
No, I never did either.
Like your whole,
Thank God, man.
But still, your mom, your whole family just got fucking, like, where are you at, like, frontline, trying to figure this out? Or, it was weird that you thought she would have, or whenever they apprehended him,
she would have been on
it would have been talking like,
I
I'm
wonder
glad
if
somebody
she
found
just
my
fucking
just
phased it out, too.
Changed her name and said, fuck this.
She probably,
that's probably why.
I don't.
Given another reason why she left, like, this guy's.
Because how fucked up? I mean, some people would take a fucking impulsive and compulsive fucking act upon it and be like if it was me, I feel like if, like, my family was killed or something like that, and I knew this motherfucker was probably still out there, I would
never
be
stop.
on a constant mission
Never
to try
stop.
to fucking find this guy,
Right, never stop.
But yeah, I don't know. So I always thought it was weird that I never heard anything more about her.
That's interesting. I didn't either. So yeah, it was very good. Next week we're going to be doing a bonus episode with you guys. It's a really good one. It's actually already been done, but I somehow erased the file. Out of 100 episodes, it was bound to happen, and thankfully it was only about 45 minutes, so we're going to redo it. But it's how we do Murder Metal Mayhem. I think you guys will like it. Thankfully, the notes are still here.
It's great that you're letting them know that you lost a file. Letting them know that we're doing on a way we make Murder Metal Mayhem. We lose files.
That's right. That's true. That's true. Very ironic.
It happens.
Well, when we had a lot of computer problems an episode or two ago, I had to delete a lot of files, and I backed them all up, what I thought I did, on a backup hard drive I have. And so when I went to find this one to get ready to chop it up and put it on Buzzsprout, I couldn't find it. I do have CK though. CK's he's on it. I got his voice. We could just release it like that.
Actually, I think I deleted it from Dropbox.
Oh, did you really? Oh, that's funny. Well, it's forever gone. But we're going to redo it. It's okay. Next week we're going to do it. So you'll get an episode next week, but it's going to be how we create Murder Metal Mayhem, which will be fun. And we're going to do a lot of commercials, too, because we'll have some extra time.
We got extra time for that one.
So we're going to have some good ones. But, I think there's definitely going to be some good stuff there,
Hell yeah.
All right. So we dealt plenty of murder tonight, man. We got CK, of course. He's already here with us. We got to hear that intro music, though. He won't let us go without that. So what do we got to do, man?
Let's get a motherfucking metal on Thin LIzzy style.
Known the world over as the master of metal, the crusher of posers,
and Murder Metal Mayhem's knower of all things metal, hailing from Wild Van Street in Danbury, Connecticut, standing at 6 feet of brutal, punishing madness, weighing in at 220 pounds of poser pulverization, the one, the only, toughest bastard on the planet, Chris CK Kovacs! Hell yeah, we got the great metal motherfucker on there. I'm looking at my notes and I don't have fucking metal on here.
None of us have metal.
What the
I'm looking,
hell?
I'm like, it ain't there, bro.
Luckily, CK can take over.
I know.
Right,
That's weird.
CK got this part.
I normally do these in pieces, and so obviously I forgot to copy and paste something, so I apologize. But yeah, this is a segment.
This is CK's part anyway.
Yeah, this is
so
CK's
we're
baby. So CK, we are still here with us. We just tore the fuck up on some Father's Day feature on John List, and we're rolling the fuck on into metal, killing it.
And I gotta say, I don't. I'm up to 224 now.
Nice.
Damn, dude.
Wow.
For my weight.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. You'd be fucking fighting before long, man.
So I went from 177 last September to 224 almost.
That's
2
good.
months later.
That's good, man.
Yeah, bro.
That's awesome, man. And I know that you had a little bit of a setback with the medical stuff. I don't know what. I know you've been pretty forthcoming with the listeners, so it's up to you, dude, what you want to get into. And I don't want to be a downer here on it, so I just want to give people a quick update.
I have no qualms about talking about this shit, you know. I found out Friday I had a telemed appointment with my kidney doctor, so I talked to him in the morning, and all the news from him was good as far as my kidney function went from a 35% to 60%. All my electrolytes that put me in the hospital last year, they've been functioning normally. Everything's been functioning normally as far as the blood work and all that.
Right.
Then I got a call about 4 o'clock on Friday from my oncologist, which usually when I get a call a couple days after chemo, I know it has to do with usually my tumor marker.
Right.
And it's either good or it's not good. And I knew by the sound of his voice that it wasn't what he was hoping.
Right.
Unfortunately, my tumor marker went from what? Yeah. And it's not the first time I've had news like this in almost 8 years. My tumor marker went up from a 135 to a 215 now. A regular normal range for a tumor marker is a
I would hope
2
would be
to a
0.
5. Well, it's 2 to 5.
Okay.
So mine was high, and sometimes for some cancer patients with what I have, it doesn't mean anything. For some like me, it usually means that there's a progression of the disease.
Right.
We don't know yet. We're not sure. Right now we're changing the chemo. He's trying me on something new. I actually have an appointment for a CAT scan tomorrow morning. And I have an appointment Friday for a follow-up with my oncologist. So next week I'll have a little bit more information.
Okay.
But I just roll with it. It is what it is. I'm not gonna fucking cry over it.
Right.
I did get down. I got down for a day or two, but I picked myself up. Laura kicked my ass.
Yeah.
And I'm back to normal. It is what it is.
What you got to do is keep fighting that fucking good fight, and we're all going to be behind you killing that shit.
Of course,
bro.
dude.
I ain't going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere, so
And how crazy is it, dude, that I thought to get you that microphone.
I know.
The day before you found out this bad news, so the microphone shows up on Saturday.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, cool, something cool to mess around with,
Fucking A, dude.
Fuck yeah.
Something coming up.
Yeah, I was stoked. I was definitely stoked.
Well, when I found out the bad news and we talked on Friday and I told you, I said, hey, I didn't, want to spoil a surprise, but I knew you were really down, so I said, I've got something I got for you that the only hint is you can use it for the podcast, and that's all I told you. And then the place that I ordered it from was in Brooklyn, so you got it the next day, so that was awesome.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You got it. Yeah, they shipped it
UPS.
Friday, and you got it Saturday. So yeah, I was really happy. So that's awesome.
So I was definitely stoked. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
So it made a shitty weekend a lot better.
That's awesome. And, thanks to our Patreon supporters, man, we can make something like that happen.
Exactly, dude.
We appreciate everybody out there that's been joining the 666 Club, because that's how we can, do stuff like that, upgrade equipment and buy things. And,
help out.
there is a little bit of an expense doing the show, so it helps offset some of that. So we appreciate it.
And a special episode in the talks.
That's right. We are organizing a very special big name serial killer episode that we're going to do with some guests. Only. It's going to be a Patreon only. Yes. And then we're also going to offer the Christopher St. Booth interview. I think I have a John Borowski interview. I've got like 3 different interviews I've not done yet. Full interview on the main site. So I'm going to do these as a Patreon only. So as a thank you to the people that have been signing up for that. So thanks. Link to that in the episode description, but it does help things out. Like I said, there is some expense putting the show together. So we do appreciate it. And if you want to see more Horns High stuff, I talked about some other podcast ideas, and I'm not kidding. So I'm all about doing something more stuff if it can work into schedules. So the only way that kind of thing's going to happen, though, is getting some more of that Patreon support. So thanks, guys, for doing that. Patreon.com/Murder Metal Mayhem. All right, CK, well, you got a tall order to do a band that's so important to you. I'm very anxious to hear what you got to say about this.
Now, I wanted to do this band for a while, and there's a small tie-in with the John List thing, and the fact that the first Thin LIzzy album came out in 1971, the same year that the Murder.
Oh, nice.
That is nice.
That's fucked up.
But again, there's 2 bands that I never understood why they never made it in America. They had little success, but not anything major. UFO is one, and the other one is Thin LIzzy. And these guys, you could debate whether they're hard rock, whether they're metal. I don't give a shit what you think they are. The bottom line is they influence a lot of fucking metal bands, and to me, they influence what metal is today as far as a twin guitar. And the fact that bands like Maiden, Anthrax, High on Fire, 6 Feet Under, Motorhead, Megadeth, Rollins Band, Mastodon, Metallica, just to name a few, have covered Thin LIzzy songs and have been influenced. It just shows you the influence they've had on the metal scene. So as far as that goes, I'm not going to debate whether they're metal or hard rock. To me, their influence goes beyond that.
They're influential is the point.
Yeah.
To the genre of metal, like they just fucking kick ass in general.
Exactly. And they should have been bigger in America than they were, and it's a shame that they aren't. But again, it goes to the fact that America, when it comes to trends, we're fickle. We follow the trend, and for some reason, when it comes to music, we can't think for us. Well, most people can't think for themselves. So they got to go with what's trending and what's popular. And unfortunately, Thin LIzzy is one of those bands where they had their 50 minutes of fame, and that was it in America. And it should have been longer. It should have been a lot longer.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm with Thin LIzzy. So Thin LIzzy formed in approximately 1969 out in Ireland.
69, dude.
Yeah. And they came from other bands from Ireland. The Taste, who, if nobody's familiar with, The Taste had Van Morrison as their lead singer. The song Gloria, Gloria, That was them.
Right.
Eric Bell, the guitarist, he had a short span with them. Phil Lynott came from a couple other bands from Ireland. Brian Downey, drummer, he was with Phil in a couple of those bands, and they decided to form Thin LIzzy. And this is basically Phil Lynott was basically the leader. It wasn't said that he was, but he wrote the songs. He was the charisma behind the band. He was, and everybody's as at the essence of Thin LIzzy. They started out as a three-piece with Eric Bell, Brian Downey, and Phil Lynott. They put out a couple singles early on. The first two albums, the self-titled Thin LIzzy and Tales from the Blue Orphanage, the second album, weren't really hard rock. They were kind of bluesy, kind of Celtic influence, folksy influenced albums with Phil's soulful voice.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Where did they get the name Thin LIzzy?
I was gonna get to that.
Oh, my bad. My bad, bro. I'll let you go.
No, but
I was wondering that too.
But I tell you, it was from a cartoon called, God, what was the name of it? Give me 1
I
second.
hope it was Thin LIzzy, and you just forgot.
No. It was a comic strip called The Dandy in Britain, and Thin LIzzy was the name of the car.
Huh. All right.
It was Thin LIzzy. They just changed it to Thin LIzzy.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because isn't a Tin LIzzy what the Shriners use when they drive around in parades? You see them driving around these little cars.
I never fucking knew that.
Yeah, they're
dude.
called Tin LIzzys. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's,
never fucking knew that.
Yeah,
All right.
there you go.
Fuck
But
yeah.
And then they just change it to Thin instead of Tin.
right.
That's cool.
They put out the first two albums, and those albums really didn't do anything. The third album, Vagabonds of the Western World, was preceded by a single, Whiskey in a Jar. And that recently has been made popular by Metallica.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not even really a Thin LIzzy song. It's a traditional Irish folk song that they
They wrote
did.
in their own style.
redid in their own style. And they didn't even really want it to be on a single. It was supposed to be a B-side of a single because they really didn't think that was, representing what they really were. So they flipped the A-side with the B-side, made the A-side Whiskey in a Jar, and it became a huge hit. All of a sudden now they're on top of the pops in Britain. They're out. They're singles in the top 10, and unfortunately, they failed to really follow up with another single from Vagabonds. But Vagabonds did do one thing. It started the direction which we know as Thin LIzzy today. It started with a heavier edge, the more hard rock approach. The song itself, The Rocker, which was the second single, in itself shows you the direction they were going. Unfortunately, Eric Bell was having problems with the drink, some drugs, wasn't really keen on the touring part.
Hanging out at Shawback Nation.
And he decided that he was going to leave Thin LIzzy. So what Phil Lynott did was he held auditions, and he went and auditioned two guitar players, Brian Robertson, who was 17 at the time, and Gorham? I forget Gorham's first name. God damn it, Scott Gorham, who was 20 at the time.
You're supposed to remember this shit. You remember that, right?
I'm doing this without notes.
I know. He's sitting there like,
But the first album that they recorded with this lineup was Nightlife. And it didn't do too well. It was kind of a disjointed album in the sense that it was pretty much a newer band, and they're trying to feel themselves out, and basically getting to know each other. But it did start the dual guitar, the classic Thin Lizzy, the classic harmony guitar solos was started on that album. I mean, it did have a couple of cool songs. It had the ballad "Still in Love with You," the rocker "Showdown," "She Knows," and that was the start of the Thin Lizzy sound that we know today. And the sound that influenced all the bands I talked about plus more. I just couldn't think of any more bands that were, because there's been so many bands that they influenced. Now, in 1975, they put out, to me, which is one of my favorite albums by them, Fighting. And that took, and it basically, they took the sound, and that was the sound. That was the sound that they were going after. The hard rock, the heaviness, the great songwriting, the guitar solos. That took everything that Phil Lynott wanted and wrapped up in ball, and that was the start of it. And the funny thing is the song that was a hit from it wasn't even their song. It was a Bob Seger song, Rosalie,
Yeah.
That's
which was a Bob Seger song that nobody knew about. It was so that people thought it was a Thin Lizzy song, and basically they adopted a song that people still think that it's a Thin Lizzy song.
Well, I bet people are the same way with the Metallica and the Whiskey in the Jar.
Right.
Like,
They don't know that it's another.
I'm sure.
no fucking clue.
Oh, yeah.
Or even go to Metallica with Am I Evil?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Fucking.
Yeah.
People probably don't realize that that's a Diamond Head song.
Right.
Because they basically took it as their own, and they pretty much made it their own.
Yeah.
That's what Thin Lizzy did, and that song was a live staple of theirs till the day they broke up. And you could see they were starting to gain momentum. And 1975 was the album. And if you want to get one album that defines Thin Lizzy, Jailbreak is it. 1976, everything came to a head, and the songwriting was just par to none. It was just excellent. I mean, it has the tune Jailbreak, which is a heavy fucking riff back in 76. It's not Sabbath, but it's fucking heavy.
Right.
Cowboy song, another heavy song. The classic, The Boys Are Back in Town. I don't give a shit how many times I hear that song on the radio. I will turn that song up because I believe that guitar, that harmony guitar solo is one of the greatest in rock history.
Bro, like, fucking, when I was working out on the road back in the day, building all the stores and shit, I'd be gone all week long, be home on the weekends. There was like a 3-year period that was going on. Fucking, as soon as we come rolling back into Bloomington, I'm sitting in the van like, the boys are back in town.
Yeah.
It was fucking awesome.
That's the whole idea of the song. And that's the album that really broke them in America. And unfortunately, like I said, America being the way we are, that was their 15 minutes of fame, because it's sad because the albums after that are just as good, if not better. Johnny the Fox in 76, another fantastic album. Bad Reputation in 77. Actually, Bad Reputation was the last album that actually had Brian Robertson on it. Unfortunately, Phil Lynott and Brian Robertson were having issues seeing eye to eye. Brian liked to drink. Phil at that time was he's Irish, so obviously he's a heavy drinker.
I must have a lot of Irish in me, bro.
You're probably 100% Irish, dude.
Nah, I can't be. My mom's half Mexican.
No, you can't be. but unfortunately they were having problems. And when it came to recording Bad Reputation, it started with just with Steve Gorham. God, why do I keep on fucking up his name?
Because you're a fuck up. That's why.
I'm a fucking loser.
Been hanging out at Shawback Nation, man.
Dude, one time.
Scott Gorham. Why do I? It's one of my favorite bands. I keep on screwing his name. Scott Gorham. Jesus Christ. But they started recording Bad Reputation as a 3-piece, and eventually Scott Gorham, got Brian Robinson back in the band to finish the album. But after that album, that was it. Brian Robinson was done. He actually later on went in to play on one album with Motorhead. 79, around that time, was unfortunately Phil Lynott and Scott Gorham were starting to get into not only drinking but drugs. At least for Phil Lynott and Scott Gorham, they were starting to do heroin.
Not a good choice.
Nope.
Not a good choice.
And the thing is, the music did not really suffer. And
that's what's fucked up. When bands are fucking like, they're super fucked up on fucking heroin and like hard and dumb shit, but they're musically, they're just like, oh, keep doing drugs.
Right.
It's like, fucking when you're hitting home runs all day, but you're on steroids. Like, let me hit these home runs, boy.
But the thing is, they knew they were fucked up, and they actually wrote a song about it on Black Rose, Gotta Give It Up, which they pretty much say, their life is turning to shit. There's nothing good coming from this. Fortunately, Scott Gorham did clean himself up and has been clean ever since to this day. Black Rose is another album I love. It's just so eclectic in the fact that the songs run from one vibe to another. You got your ballad, you got your hard rocker on it, you got your quote hit at the time, which was a hit in Britain, Waiting for an Alibi. And you had Gary Moore, who was a member at one time earlier with Thin LIzzy, back in the band for one album. I don't know if you guys ever heard Gary Moore.
Oh, yeah.
I have not.
But give his first couple albums a listen to. He ripped it up. He eventually went from playing metal to blues, and that's what he typically did before he died in, I think it was 2011, 12.
You know what? You know what I like? I like a gun that's gunmetal blue.
I'm sure you do. But Black Rose, the last song was a tune called Rosin Dub, Black Rose, a Rock Legend. That's what it's called. And they put in all these little Irish folk things in it throughout the song, which is really cool. It was really well done. And it just showed you what kind of songwriter that Phil Lynott was. He was a great songwriter. His lyrics dealt with, the Celts, fantasy, his faith. He was actually a huge Catholic. He wasn't a preacher. He didn't preach, but he was very religious, which nobody really knew about. Very, very.
He didn't kill his family though and play classical music.
No.
Lutherans do that, bro. Lutherans do that.
Yeah, it's Luther. Get him
Sorry, I was confused.
Not Catholics.
I got confused for a second.
But 1980, they released another, and until they broke up, they released awesome albums. And to this day, I could change from my favorite album from one day to the other. Tell you, Jailbreak's my favorite album. It's Fighting's my favorite album. Because they're all that good. I mean, Chinatown came out in 1980, and it's got the track Killer on the Loose. Another great tune, another great album, and they actually recruited a new guitarist, Snowy Shaw, who I think at the time was like 20 years old, and he spent his time. He was the backup guitarist for Pink Floyd on tour at the time. So he had a little bit of a pedigree, you know, playing. Granted, it was behind the curtain,
Right.
playing live, but he played with Floyd. 1981, actually 1980, Phil Lynott put out his first solo album, Solo in Soho. And that album sounded nothing like a Thin Lizzy album, which was pretty cool.
Was it good though?
Because it was good. It was different. It was good. It was it had new wave influences. It had punk influences, hard rock. It was all over the place. But
You know what Surfer's
the
like?
worst thing-
New waves.
you're shot. But the one thing I hate when people come out with solo albums is you put out the same thing you did with the band that you were in.
With
Why?
a different band.
Yeah, why? What's the purpose?
Right.
It makes no sense
The
to
whole
me.
idea is to try something different.
Right.
And that's what he did. 82, he came out with another solo album, self-titled, which did pretty well. Not in America, but in Britain. And in 1983, they released their final album, Thunder and Lightning. Now, the reason why they broke up was there's two thoughts to this. One was that the sales were declining all around, so they wanted to do a farewell tour that supposedly their manager thought up of as a way of selling tickets and getting money and putting income back into the band.
Right.
The second is that Thin Lizzy had actually run its course and there was really nowhere else for them to go. That was it. They did what they could do.
Like let's
And their
just
time
band,
was up.
yeah, let's just band end on a good note.
The thing was that last tour was supposedly the best tour they ever did. And those shows were supposedly the best shows they ever did live. So who knows? But after the breakup, Phil started a new band, Grand Slam. Same concept as Thin Lizzy, the dual guitar, the bass, him on bass singing, and drums. And for some reason, they couldn't get a record deal for the life of them. Nobody would sign them. A lot of people put it down as a poor man's Thin Lizzy. There is an album of demos by them. I don't think they sound anything like Thin Lizzy, but they were a good band. They weren't Thin Lizzy, but they were a good band on I thought. But I guess no A&R guys thought they were good enough. You know, and during this time, Phil Lynnett's drug addiction is just getting worse. He tried to get clean. It didn't happen. You know, he's injecting heroin. He's doing the coke, drinking, and he's just not taking care of himself. And if you see him in later years, like from 83, 84, 85, you see that he's getting fat. And he doesn't look good.
Who the hell does a bunch of heroin and coke and gets fat?
Well, look at Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
I mean, you got that. I mean, he's still
Vince Neil wasn't sober, bro.
Yeah, but you know, you're not taking care of yourself. You're eating shit. You don't care.
Right.
You know, and he it was 1986. I think it was like right around Christmas time. His mom went to his house, noticed that, there was water dripping from the ceiling. She went upstairs and Phil was in the bathtub in water up to his head. And all he said was, "I can't get warm." And he had clothes on. He had his clothes on. He was in the bathtub with the clothes on because he was so sick. That's the only way he could get warm.
Dope sick.
Wow.
Well, he actually he was starting to get pneumonia. And his mom took him in the hospital. Unfortunately, he didn't think he was going to die. A couple days later, January 4th, 1986, he succumbed to pneumonia and heart failure. Obviously, the heart failure was brought on by the drugs.
Right, I'm sure.
And not being treated probably quick enough for the pneumonia didn't help any.
Wow.
But he passed away at 36. He had a career. He was only 36 years
Yeah,
old.
that's
Fucking
amazing.
crazy, man.
This guy was such an icon in Ireland that there's a statue in Dublin of him.
That's where all the junkies go to use the drugs.
I don't know. But the funny thing is, John Sykes, who was the guitarist in the latter years, probably the last two albums, decided that he was going to reform Thin LIzzy in 1995 as a tribute to Phil. And he actually got Scott Gorham, he got Brian Downey, and the keyboard player Darren Wharton. And they recorded a live album. And eerily enough, John Sykes does the vocals, and he sounds exactly like fucking Phil Lynott.
No shit.
I mean, it's scary. It's to the point where you would think it was actually Phil Lynott singing. That's kind of job he did. And they actually carried on for a while under the Thin LIzzy name. Eventually, John Sykes left. Scott Gorham got some new members, and they were getting ready to record new music, and he didn't think it was the right thing to do to record new music under Thin LIzzy. So he changed the name to Black Star Riders.
Right on.
And to this day, I think they just put out their fourth album last year.
Fucking A, man. Hell yeah.
It's good hard rock, Thin LIzzy style. But again, this band has influenced so many goddamn bands, and it's a shame that they never got the recognition that they should have gotten, and especially in America, because Jailbreak is a great album, and I love that album, but all the albums after that are just as good, if not better. And if you get a chance, check them out. All the albums are still available. I think they're one of the few bands where every single album has had the deluxe version treatment.
Right.
As far as,
Yeah, that's cool, man. It's always good to turn people on to something different and talk about a band, like you said, kind of fringes on metal and hard rock there and
Super
something different.
influential.
Yeah,
I'm
very
sure, yeah.
influential. What about your Lost Classic tonight, CK? What do you got for us? Sticking into that 70s.
We're sticking to the 70s, like 1975. Band called Montrose.
Oh, nice.
Hell yeah.
Montrose is a band. They had a young singer at the time, Sammy Hagar, and the guitarist was Ronnie Montrose, who previously played with the Edgar Winter Band. And they put out this killer hard rock metal. It was called proto metal at the time.
Proto metal.
And I mean, it was not really metal, but it had metal sounds.
Right.
And another band that influenced other bands, Maiden's played. If you go back to their B-sides, I think like 3 or 4 songs they covered from Montrose.
Yeah.
Anthrax covered Montrose.
Yep.
A bunch of bands covered them, and that first album, just a killer album. I mean, not one dud on it. It's 35 minutes of just fucking hard rock metal, whatever you want to call it. I don't give a shit what you call it. It's just good shit.
That's badass,
Well, fuck yeah, dude. That's like I said. We've turned a lot of listeners on to new stuff, listening to what you got to say. So we appreciate that very much. Any other?
I've never heard Montrose. Obviously, you have.
Yeah, I've heard them. Yeah,
I never had.
yeah.
No.
What about any other metal news? Anybody heard anything going on? Anything they want to bring up?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah,
There's a lot going on right now, man.
yeah. Everything's
New Cro-Mags comes out
Oh,
tomorrow.
nice.
I'm psyched
Hell
about
yeah.
that.
that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of labels are just kind of like wondering what's going to happen.
Yep.
So I think they're holding
Waiting
off.
for that next step.
Yeah,
Well, right now, if you're not going to tour, what's the sense of
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know.
sure.
putting out an album?
Might as well wait until it's back up and going. So, all right, well, very good. We are 2 hours and 18 minutes into this episode.
Yeah.
So we're going to close out this metal tonight. And CK, where do we need to go next, my friend?
We are going right to Mayhem.
Fucking
Now you might think it's fun, or maybe it's a joke, but you got plenty reason to worry here, 'cause you wouldn't stand a hope. There's a killer on the loose again, a killer on the loose. There's a killer on the loose again, a lady killer on the loose. Now I'm not trying to be nasty, I'm not trying to make it.
Are you tired of your girl having some nasty, stank-ass pussy? Something that smells like an animal died up in there? Well, fear no more. Thanks to Dr. Geen Vagina Maintenance, you can say goodbye to that graveyard-inspired rotten crotch forever.
Yes, my wife's pussy smelled like 10 motherfuckers died up there. But when I applied Dr. Geen Vagina Maintenance Cream, it smelled fresh and new.
Give your wife our special Mother's Day Pussy Be New basket with a tube of the maintenance cream, a bottle of our special jizz-absorbent powder to keep the cum crystals down, and a hand towel to wipe that fucker down.
Thanks, Dr. Geen. Her pussy smells so good. I might just cut it off and put it in the shoebox with all the others.
Well, that's a topic for another day, son. Dr. Geen Vagina Maintenance. Buy some today for that rotten crotch pussy you love to hate.
I will never not love that one.
Oh, that's just so fucking funny, man.
The piano's
Got the John
like my
List
favorite
music
shit.
going
Yeah,
on in the
dude,
background.
yeah.
Oh yeah, straight up the John List. Plus, also right before that Thin LIzzy fucking Killer
Hell
on the
yeah,
Loose.
dude.
John List, Killer on the Loose.
There you go, dude. Wow, 1971.
Fuck yeah,
Works out.
It's all like fucking Kevin Bacon and 7
Goddamn.
degrees or
Right,
whatever the fuck.
6 degrees
6
of bacon or
degrees.
whatever the fuck. Yeah.
If there's a serial killer like sitting over a hooker and strangling her, is that a killer on the loose as well?
Oh,
Oh, because she's loose. I got you, bro.
I'm being funny.
No, I like it. I like it. It took me a second, but I like it.
well, we're in Mayhem, and we are definitely hitting a long episode here, so we're going to
yeah,
hold off on any Mayhem stories for tonight, because we've definitely had a
Goddamn, bro.
lot of Mayhem
There was a lot
tonight.
of mayhem during fucking the whole fucking
The
murder
John
segment,
List
dude.
thing was just crazy.
Shit, maybe I shouldn't be on for murder. It's longer when I'm on.
Right? Well, you add another person, it does take
Yeah,
longer,
true.
so it really does.
And
All
I will
right.
be on another episode later on for the murders part.
That's right. So the Facebook Live stuff we've been doing, 2 minutes to CK. CK, you've been doing some album reviews. That's been fun. What do you got coming up with that, man?
Actually, the way I do it is I pick the album that day.
Oh, that's cool. That's
He's like,
great.
oh, digging through.
That's
this
cool. Well,
one.
what
Yeah.
was the one you did last week again? You did a couple, right?
I did the new Sorcerer,
Right.
and I did the re-release of Altars of Madness by Morbid Angel
Right.
with the live album.
Yeah, so you can go on our Facebook page and look at that from last Thursday. CK does them every Thursday at 4:20 his time, which is 3:20 our time. So
Actually, I could tell you what I'm doing this week, 'cause I already know what I'm doing.
that's
I
up
already
to
picked
you.
it.
It
I already
comes out.
picked
This episode comes out the day you're doing it, so people may not hear it in time. But go ahead if you want to tell.
the new PBMD, which is Blitz, Portnoy, what's his face from Violence, Phil Demmel.
Oh, that should be badass.
And the bass player from Metal Allegiance. They do a full covers album, which I'm not a fan of covers album, but this one kicks ass.
Yeah, that's fuck yeah.
And I got a bonus classic review too.
Nice.
That's cool. And I've been doing mine on Fridays at 4:20 Central Time, and doing some giveaways and giving away some of the Murder Metal Mayhem activity books. So it's been a good thing. And Chris
I
and
drink
Joey,
a lot and my brain don't work right, dude.
you guys did some funny stuff after the podcast a couple different times, from the shed from Shawback Nation. So
Hell yeah.
we're doing a lot of fun stuff, guys. So check out our Facebook page if you're interested, and you can find out when we're going to do those. All right, well, we've got a good killer cage match tonight, guys. We're going to throw down in the cage. We've got our list of objects, our list of killers. We have the listeners pick some random numbers. Chris, who do we got to thank this week for those numbers?
We have Regina King, Dave Little, and Sue Cornwell.
Sue Cromwell.
Cromwell. I'm fucking...
Cromwell.
No,
Do you have your glasses on, Chris?
No, I do, but like in my head at first.
Yeah.
It's like Cromwell Street, bro. Fred and Rose.
I know. Fucking goddamn it.
So we appreciate that. And tonight, Joey, we got a good match in the cage. We
Yep.
got Chicago and Cleveland going at
Chicago
it.
and Cleveland in the ring. We
That's
don't have
right.
any sports going on very much in the
Yeah,
U.S.
so this could be
Right.
pretty
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
entertaining.
So check
here.
this out. We got fucking Mr. Johnny Wayne Gacy himself.
Nice.
Against
Pogo.
Gary Heidnick.
Nice.
Yeah, that motherfucker.
Some of our listeners may not know Heidnick, but he's in that top 10 episodes of all time from Murder Metal Mayhem.
Yes.
Brutality in the Basement.
Yes, sir.
Brutal
He
fucking
killed
episode.
it.
But he kept slaves in his basement chained up, and he put them down in a pit.
Let's
electrocuted them.
Sex slaves.
Sex slaves,
Not like-
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
clarify that.
Yeah, true. So, yeah, he's a fucked up individual. They're both fucked up. So they're going to fight to death in the cage. And, Chris, they got a couple of good objects here to fight with.
Well, I'm going to start with the weak one first. They got
Okay.
a rubber boot filled with pus, which is fucking nasty, mind you. That's
Yeah,
fucking
for sure.
That's fucking gross as
Because if you
fuck.
put that over somebody's head, man, that would be just
I
nasty.
just grab it by the foot and swing it around.
Is it a boot made of
The
rubber?
question is, where did the pus come
Right,
from?
is it a rubber boot?
We don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
don't know.
pus.
Is
It's
it-
disgusting.
Like,
And
is it
then-
made of condoms?
Oh,
That kind of rubber boot.
oh.
Filled with pus. That just took a new level.
Yeah, that just took a whole new level. And then we got a fucking, basically a fire hose that shoots out shards of fucking broken glass.
Nice. That's
Dude,
pretty
what
wicked.
the fuck is that?
Like,
That's
you
some
just
crazy shit.
Yeah, that's fucking stupid.
So you got Gacy and Heidnick fighting in a cage with a hose that sprays broken glass shards and a rubber boot filled with pus. And CK, what's the variable this time here?
Is a million fire ants.
yeah, fire
Those
ants
fucking
suck.
things suck, man. Oh, wow. I ran
That
into
could
them in
hurt.
Texas. I've mentioned
Yes.
before. Holy shit, those are awful. So what do you think, Chris? What do you think in this one, dude? I mean, this is an interesting
Heidnick-
matchup.
Now, here's the thing. Gacy fucking, like, obviously, he liked dudes or whatever, who he killed was
Sure.
dudes, whatever, and he, like, was able to lure them in.
Right?
Heidnick would just go get prostitutes off the street,
Right.
and now you're trapped or whatever.
Plus he had that
Plus
church
he had,
going
plus he had
on,
The,
so
yeah,
he
Brother
was-
Bishop. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, he's Brother Bishop.
Right.
But then you throw in like the fucking it always comes down to the objects or the
Who's going to
variable.
grab it first?
Yeah, who's going to get what first? Because I guarantee you get
You
that.
got to look at who's more agile.
And I feel Heidnick would be more agile.
I think so, too.
But I also think Gacy was agile too, because the way he had to fucking come around and choke on him and shit, like he
Yeah.
had to be slick. And then there's the fucking goddamn fire ants. Then there's the damn fire
I mean,
ants.
physically, I think Gacy's got a little bit of an edge, but I agree
Yeah.
with you guys. I think Heidnick's a little craftier, maybe a little smaller and quicker.
I think
could probably get to that fire hose because Joey, I think whoever's got that fire hose is going to cause some fucking havoc.
That's probably one of the most brutal weapons that I've seen
yeah,
in the
like
killer
just
cage.
firing
man.
out shards of fucking glass.
Oh,
dude.
you're done. Once that fire hose comes out,
Whoever
you're done.
gets that fire hose, it's going up somebody's ass, though.
Oh.
I know
Oh, they
that.
both
wow.
love anal.
Yeah, one of them shoving it up the other one's ass. So I,
So,
man.
but
Along
my,
with the
my
fire
personal,
ants.
my personal opinion is, I'm gonna go with Heidnick gets it because he's more agile, and I feel like he's like that kind of numb person that if the fire ants start fucking biting on him, he's gonna be like, whatever, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
And Gacy's gonna be like, I should get the shit off of me
yeah.
I'm gonna go with Gacy. That's gonna be mine, only
because of the home team.
Well, that and also because I think Gacy was more in tune and used to physical confrontations
I
with
see,
the people.
and
Right.
I
Where
didn't even
Heidnick,
think
he
of
just
that.
lured him in and he fucking didn't have to do as much
Yeah.
physical.
Right, no.
That's true,
I see
man.
what
So
you're
that's
saying
why I'm
there.
going that one. But yeah, in Chicago.
Yeah. All right. Well, CK, you got anything to add to that cage match? Who do you like in that one?
I go with like Chris. I go with Heidnick.
Okay. All right. I agree. I think Heidnick's going to take this only because I think he's going to be quicker to that hose because I think whoever gets that, even the fire ants don't
Where the
stand a
hose
chance
at?
with that. So.
Where the hose at?
And Heidnick was good with the hose, that's for sure. So I'm going to give the
true.
edge to Heidnick. So, all right. Well, we've done some good mayhem tonight. Let's hit that outro, boys.
Yeah.
Sculpture cast always held in remembrance, in memory of the past. Learn the tributes forevermore. The colors carved on the planets.
Fucking A, Bolt Thrower, man. The song Granite Wall, hitting that fucking wall. Holy shit, that's a good album.
Man, you ever done that
Those
in a
once
car?
loyal. Had not hit a wall. I've been through ditches and some
I've
other
been through
places.
ditches, fields.
Yeah,
fucking-
some bad stuff, man.
Did
But
it on the bike.
yeah.
Yeah, you hit a granite wall on a bike?
I might have. I don't remember.
I love Bolt Thrower, man. I used to
Shit,
play
I
them
know.
all the time when I had the chopping block show I did years back in heavy core. So love some Bolt Thrower. All right, thanks to Joey Goremonger and CK being here the whole time tonight. It was a good one, boys. We were
Oh, yeah, man. It's been
doing
good
some
hanging out
John List
Fuck
and
yeah.
doing some Thin Lizzy and just a good fucking episode, Chris. Wouldn't you agree?
I think is probably one of the best ones we've done.
Yeah.
In actually, they're all fucking great. Fuck y'all.
Bumper,
No, I had a great fucking
bumper
time, bro.
music by Thin Lizzy, Bolt Thrower, and Guar tonight. CK, who does your intro music there?
The one and only fucking Culture Club.
Culture Club, damn.
You'll always be coming
I'll
up with something
I'll
new.
tumble
all the
for
time,
you.
bro.
I'll tumble for you, CK. All right, Chris.
That's fucking fine.
Chris, the Murder Metal Mayhem intro music by.
I don't know. You're gay ass. It's low fucking 12.
All right, support indie artists like Tony Campagna and visit his amazing website with a gruesome online catalog at spellboundfxandart.com. So amazing. Pick something up today. Tell him we sent you over there, and I'm sure he'll take good care of you. Go to murdermetalmayhem.com to hear all the episodes
Go to
and the
it.
bonus content. Facebook, of course. Follow us on Twitter and subscribe to that YouTube channel. Talking about going back up to Shakers, so that
Yes,
means
sir.
a good YouTube, maybe that down in the basement, some cool cam,
I can't wait.
Shaw cam or something like
Dude.
that. We could do some good stuff
Oh,
with
man,
that.
I don't know.
We could put it on your head so you don't have to deal with it.
Hell
You just
yeah.
turn it on and just leave it there.
I'm down with that, bro. I'll fucking
Yeah,
do
I got
that
a
shit.
strap for that thing and could strap it to your fucking
I don't want
hat.
to know about your strap on, bro.
Join that 666 club and support the show.
We about to fucking
Patreon.com.
record some new Patreon only shit.
We're gonna break the news here pretty soon, but we have got a monster episode that's going to be Patreon only. And starting next week, there's going to be some interviews that they're going to be able to hear over there on Patreon. So go check it out. $3 a month, man. That's nothing, and it helps out the show. All right, Chris, we got some good comments this time around. You want to read that first one?
Rock the Robin with a Y. Hell yeah. Says hails from the UK. Love the Nielsen episode. I'm hooked on Murder Metal Mayhem now. And we appreciate. And now you got a new addiction. Shit.
That's awesome, man. The UK, man, they're up there in the top 3 countries listening. They are killing it. So thank you. All right, Joey, what's the next one, man?
Roberta Gaskins, which I'm pretty sure we've heard from her before. She commented, "My roommates and I crank up Murder Metal Mayhem every Friday night at our apartment.
Nice.
Killer cage matches are the best. I personally love the karaoke stuff you guys do."
Awesome.
Are you related to Pee Wee?
I wonder.
That's what I'm thinking. Okay, I'm saying the Gaskins,
CK, what's that next one there, bud?
Larry Elders 80 said, "I'm a Canadian listener for the past 6 months. Great fucking podcast. I love you fuckers. If you ever tour, please come to Ontario."
Nice.
You see what happens, Larry, when you fuck a stranger in the ass?
Yeah, that would
Larry
be
Sellers, but you know.
That would be crazy. Right. That would be crazy to do a tour and stop and hang out with Larry up there in Ontario. All right, Chris, what's that last one, dude?
Slave to the Metal says, "I love the metal segment. You guys should do an episode on the guitar gods in metal. That might be cool."
Yeah. That's a good idea, actually.
That's actually an idea we've discussed, and we probably definitely will do one.
Yeah, that'd be a good one, CK.
There's a lot
so
of
many of
people, like all of our different thoughts on styles of metal.
It would be a great
They'd be like, this person is fucking amazing.
Sure, because somebody's going to say Pat O'Brien's amazing and might not be into death metal, but it'd be a good discussion. For sure. So thanks to all those comments out there. Thanks to everybody listening. We appreciate it. Next week, you get to hear that bonus episode on how we create Murder Metal Mayhem Part 2, because we did Part 1. It got mysteriously deleted. You know, maybe when we're done, when we retire from doing this, we'll put it out like a special secret like that. We really did keep it.
It's like an episode. It's like how we recreate.
How we recreate a podcast.
Make sure
Murder Metal Mayhem.
Yeah, I'll do a tutorial on how to save a file and not have it deleted.
Yeah.
So anyway, with as many files as get passed around doing this, it's pretty amazing that it's been this long till something like that happened. So thankfully, it's easy fix. We'll do it next week, and you guys will hear it. I did a new karaoke song. I've always wanted to do this one. It has really nothing to do with John List. It's pretty fucking ridiculous. I added some Clint Eastwood talking and from Dirty Harry. It's pretty fucking ridiculous. CK, you heard it. You like it?
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. So crank this shit up. And until next time, keep one foot in the gutter.
And keep your hands praising the Lord for the family that you yourself murdered.
Go ahead. Make my day. Make my day. Make my day.
Pump up the jam, pump it up while your feet are stomping and the jam is pumping. Look ahead, the crowd is jumping. Pump it up a little more, get the party going on the dance floor. See, 'cause that's where the party's at, and you'll find out if you do that. I don't want a place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. I don't want a place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. 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 Make my fucking day. Yo, pump up the jam, pump it up. Pump it, yeah, pump up the jam, pump it up. Motherfucker, pump up the jam, pump it up. Yeah, pump it, pump up the jam, pump it up. Fuck yeah. I don't want
yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Mother, man.